We're live.
We are live because that means it's Thursday night and you are tuned into the best place to be with PM in the PM Pong and Mav in the PM. If anybody saw our backstage and how we get here when we do and you and I go back and forth, like nobody would believe us. There'd be shows out there that would be horrified at how we actually throw this thing together. But appreciate you all for joining us on a Thursday night. Happy Tears of the Kingdom review score day. Again, for anybody who's keeping score, everybody likes to say reviews don't matter, and then we get a game like Tears of the Kingdom, and of course it's greatest thing ever because the scores say so, not because anybody's got it in their hands yet out there, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Mav is not going to go on a Nintendo rant. He has agreed to hold back. I never asked him about that, but I'm just telling him that he's going to not do a Nintendo rant tonight. I'm not going to go off on how much I dislike Zelda, or I should say uninterested in Zelda, because it actually is a time to celebrate, because this is what we talked about coming into this year, that this was going to be potentially one of the greatest gaming years of all time, one of the GOATs. And potentially could wind up being the best gaming year of all time. And Zelda was a part of that. So shout out to all the Zelda fans. You guys have a winner. People are locking it into Game of the Year, obviously already. People saying nothing else has a chance. It doesn't matter. Starfield, Spider-Man 2, don't matter. This is locked. Again, one of the highest reviewed games in history already. Tears of the Kingdom is. So it definitely has a very large head start on everybody else. That's for sure. Even the early contenders, Hogwarts, and Star Wars, I would say are looking way back. So anyways, we're going to talk about that though, because it is a great day for gaming. We're going to get into some other things because the man here, my co-host right here, stirred up some hornet's nests as he likes to do from time to time. He's certainly, I would definitely not call him a console warrior. He's not a ride or die Xbot as some of these dudes are and some of these gals are when it comes to not criticizing Xbox. So I definitely don't put him in that camp. But every once in a while, he likes to do little experiments, little psychology tests. Nobody understands that's what they are because they're wrapped in this cute little, wording that makes it seem like, oh, we got one of those Xbots here. Here we go. But we did have some interesting things happen in the chats underneath these posts, and he had a great Sunday night conversation. He did his solo one-man rant, which is always fantastic, and Sunday was especially spicy. And of course, I loved it because it was about journalism. And of course, my feelings on journalism, but we're going to get into all of that. So let me introduce the man who did cause the stir this week. The man who, again, owns Fun Speculation Network, has grown it to a multi-billion-dollar organization at this point, is looking to buy his own personal country and take over. Well, no. Okay, I'm jumping the gun. We're not quite there yet, but the man of the hour, the one, the only, Fun Speculation, a.k.a. Mav. Bro, besides, kicking sand in people's faces and sitting back and going na boo boo. What else you been doing this week, brother? What else has been happening?
Just playing some games as usual.
MLB.
Yeah, pretty much. MLB. I've been dabbling in this and that. Nothing like I haven't had as much time this past week to play a lot, so I haven't been playing a lot of games. But yeah, it's been interesting on Twitter this past week for sure. I did have that Sunday night stream as well, which I got some good feedback from that, and that was fun to do. I'm probably gonna try and keep doing those as much as I can, as long as there's something to talk about. And my goal this past week, Pong, has been trying to expose double standards And I think I've been doing a pretty good job of it because you're on mute, man.
I'm not on mute. It did it by itself. Yeah, no. You're definitely doing a great job. This is something that we all been on for a long time, right? And the pile just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. And again, the ammo that you brought to the fire with the GI.biz article was impressive. I mean, obviously, again, I love how you read your articles because you read them like me, especially when you're upset. I don't know if you remember the Games Radar one about Starfield, and how it was going to have to justify itself to because of No Man's Sky, right?
Yeah.
When I read that on Living Split Screen, literally that was like a 3-minute article. It took me 15 minutes to get through it because just like you, I had to stop.
I think it took me an hour and a half to get through this.
It was awesome, bro. It was awesome.
It's like, every sentence was like a double standard, and I'm like, really? And then what's funny is in that Games Industry.biz article is like there's double standards even within the article in itself.
Correct. Yes.
So like it's not just a double standard about like just consistent double standards, even contradicting oneself in an article that's meant to talk about how Activision Blizzard is ruining Xbox, and that it's just a bunch of stuff, man. It was kind of just like I get sick of it. You know what I mean? I get sick of there's more articles today. I mean, it's like every day right now, and we predicted this like the closer ABK kind of got and stuff that it was going to come to fruition, and then also with Redfall happening. That added more people like, oh, hey, this is a good time to shit on Xbox right now. So let's just get these articles out for clicks and stuff. But the Twitter thing was a little bit more interesting as well because, you know, that was inspired by the stream that I had when I was looking at the double standards. And I put out there simply a sentence. And I said, PlayStation has a first-party games problem in 2023, right? And do I actually care? No. Do I think that PlayStation's held to a different standard than Xbox is when it comes to first party? Absolutely. And that article inspired it because we've already had 5 first party releases this year for Xbox. But in the article, it claimed that Xbox had the output problem, whereas PlayStation has one multi-platform actual release on PS5 this year, which is MLB The Show, which is a better value on Xbox. Right. And then also they have potentially Spider-Man 2. Stellar Blade is now published by Sony. So that's one that they can chalk up, which they stole because originally it was not going to be published by Sony, which is an interesting situation. However, yes, you got to give them credit for that. So I'll say that there's 2 potential first party games if you count Stellar Blade in there. It's not enough for a whole year, really, is with the studios that they have. And that's all I was trying to say. Now, the interesting thing was a lot of the posts that everybody was saying in that thread, I completely agree with. But it was so easy to see all these people squirm about PlayStation. It's like, oh, you can't say this because of this, because of that, because of this.
Can I jump in here real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jump in here. So, because I was reading through, and I think I read through probably at least 9. I don't know how many more there are.
It has 120 comments on it. Now, some of those are my responses.
I read through when there was 100 of them. Okay,
Yeah.
and I read through each one. I read through follow-ups, right? Because again, this is always interesting to see. And again, this is a conversation we were having in the DMs as well, Mav.
It's a mentality thing, right?
It is, and we see it with Nintendo, and we see it with PlayStation. This is what happens when you train generations of gamers to your platform, and there is no more goalposts, right? We always talk about how PlayStation fans move the goalposts on Xbox. For PlayStation, you can't even put up goalposts like you did. They just say they don't exist because what I want to get to here, Mav, is some of the reasoning. Some of the reasoning was typical responses, right? The typical response you're going to get. It happens on both sides, right? You throw something out there like that. Somebody says, yeah, but what about last year? Right? Somebody goes, oh, but last year we had plenty. Where were you guys? Right? That's predictable. That's normal shit. Right?
It sounds like Xbox fans last year were talking about 2021. It's hilarious that if you were to change it to Xbox has no games as the post, which is pretty much what I said in a different way that could be like not seen that way. So I pretty much said the same thing. But nobody would take that seriously if I said that. So I said it in a different way. And the interesting thing is all the responses sounded like Xbox fans in 2022.
Correct. Absolutely. And let me make this clear. It's funny when people who have never watched any of your content drop in and say something because it's clear as day that they've never seen any of your content. They see you. I saw them all looking up your bio on Twitter and saying, "Oh, of course, Xbox Ultimate host. Well, of course you're going to say this, blah, blah, blah." They went right to that. That was hilarious too. But the next thing that I saw, Mav, and this is something that we called long ago.
Yeah.
VR games are now first-party exclusives, people.
They are.
And it doesn't matter if you have to own both the PlayStation 5 and the VR headset. It still counts because a Sony first-party dev studio took the time to make a VR game. So those count as PlayStation exclusives. Not just VR exclusives.
Probably, I was being favorable, and I said probably 2% of PS5 users even have access to those games. It's probably not even that much, honestly.
Right.
But like, it's funny that just for the sake of credit towards PlayStation, it gets included in their lineup for PlayStation 5 games.
Correct.
Right, which is so hilarious. Which is fine if you want to include it, but like, there's so many different things you could counteract that with. And
no, you can't do that when you're talking about PlayStation, the console, because somebody can go buy the game, they can't play it unless they have VR too.
Right, it's a whole nother platform. It's a whole nother platform.
VR exclusive. That this was an argument about VR headsets and who's got the better lineup. You can use that game.
Yeah, this
is not a part of that.
I also saw people equating DLC for Horizon.
Yes.
As a release,
brother. And when anybody on Xbox sides talk about Horizon DLC, Forza Horizon DLC, or whatever the case may be, oh no, that's DLC, that doesn't count. PC games coming to console for the first time, oh no, that doesn't count. Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, 20-year-old game, doesn't count. Again, there are no goalposts over there. But this is the most interesting one, man. I don't know if you saw this, and I gotta ask Steele, because Steele frequents the dark alleys of the podcast world where I don't go, because I don't find it interesting and it's a waste of my time. But Steele likes to dive into the dark side, right? And I gotta ask him if this narrative started specifically, because I saw more than one person, and this one caught me way off guard, man. Because I never even thought I didn't even think about this with Xbox ever, but the fact that they were rolling out as an excuse. There was multiple people in this thread, chat, if you guys didn't read all this nonsense, that said, why Sony cut third-party deals? Why would they compete against their third-party partners? They're not going to kill their partners' games with their own first-party titles. This year was third-party focused. That's why there's no first-party games. Because they spent all this money to get third-party exclusives. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't even know what to say to that. I don't even know how you get that across. I just don't know how that flashes in your head. Well, Sony cut all these deals, Final Fantasy 16 and Stellar Blade and all these other third-party deals. So they didn't want to put out their first-party games this year because they got the third party. And those are their partners. So they didn't want to hurt those games.
Yeah, but yet they don't want to count a third-party game like Forspoken as part of that lineup.
Correct.
Yeah. It was just interesting. And I don't, PlayStation's going to have a great year this year, right? I don't think it's enough first-party output.
No.
I'll stand behind that. But absolutely. Is it going to hurt PlayStation? No. Is masses going to care? No. But if this was Xbox, there would be massive shitting on and all that kind of stuff. And because really, first party wise, I mean, it's a lot like Xbox's 2022. Spider-Man 2 is one big game, and that's kind of, I will admit that supplants everything Xbox released last year combined, right? But one big title isn't enough, right? And that's all I was trying to say. And I feel like PlayStation gamers should ask for more.
Correct.
But it's okay. It's
No.
if third party is what their model is,
Yeah.
which is apparently so. I don't like seeing articles say that Xbox is wrong for basically acquiring third-party games that they didn't create to fulfill their pipeline. So that's what the criticisms were from Xbox doesn't create, Xbox buys, right? Well, how about PlayStation with buying exclusivity rights on third-party games? Guess what? That they didn't create. And why? To fill up their pipeline. It's just a different way of going about the same thing. So double standards, man. Double standards.
And let's roll right into that, because again, you had your Sunday night solo show in which you dissected the GI.biz article, and again, it was fantastic. For anybody who hasn't seen Mav go through that article, it really was a wonderful job. Again, he always does great on his own. He does solo. It's fantastic. Brother knows what he's doing. But to your point, Mav, this is why I have zero problems with Xbox continuing acquisition season. This is why I have zero problems with them moving forward, whether they get ABK or not, gobbling up as many studios as they possibly can. Because at the end of the day, you are never going to win high marks from any of the media, no matter what you do as Xbox, unless you came out tomorrow and said, we're giving up on Game Pass, we're giving up on cloud, we're giving up on mobile, we're going to compete in the same console market that's been stagnant for the past decade with Sony. And that's what we're going to do. That's the only way. And then they would find a way to complain about that. Sony is cutting deals, as Phil alluded to in their interview, as we have seen in contractual documentation going all the way back to Epic versus Apple. When we got the first glimpse and we were told, oh no, that's not what's happening. Oh, the Xbox does the same thing. Listen, Phil said it in his interview that Nintendo, to a lesser degree, of course, because they've got their own way of doing business, but Sony are doing things in a way that really makes it hard for Xbox to compete. And again, to your point, Mav, Sony buys up exclusivity from third parties, whether they, like Stellar Blade, buy the full rights, become publisher, or whether they do timed exclusivity. But when that timed exclusivity is up, this isn't the old days of timed exclusivity. In many, many, many cases, we have now seen, and we have now heard through all this ABK stuff, that there is actual contractual documentation that Sony says you can't work with Xbox in the future with this game. You can put it on any other platforms you want, but you can't put it on Xbox. So this is no longer the old days of simple timed exclusivity when we just knew that as soon as that timed exclusivity is up, expect announcement coming to Xbox or coming to PlayStation if it was an Xbox timed exclusive. We just knew that back in the day. Now, that doesn't happen. And the biggest thing I wanted to point out, Mav, is throughout this entire article, the thing that really got me, on top of all your great points, obviously, line by line as you were breaking it down, was the fact that these journalists, again, get paid to do this job, right? What me and Mav do here, all they basically do is put it in written form, because almost every article is now an opinion piece. It's not fact-based, okay? So basically, that's all they do. They pretty it up. They put it in written form so it's easy to read and easy to digest. And this is what they do, and they get paid for it. But this is an industry that supposedly these people, and Rob Fahey, who wrote that article, has been a part of this industry for a very long time. A very long time. These people are supposed to understand the industry better than the average Joe. And that includes us, the enthusiasts who gets podcasts. They get paid to do this as a job. And the thing that entire article missed, man, entirely, 100%, he wrote that article as if Xbox was still competing in the console market alone with Sony.
Yeah.
They ignore that there is a subscription model now that has to be fed with content. You can't simply go buy third-party exclusives, timed exclusives, sit around, wait for 3 years to organically build a fresh new studio with we don't know kind of talent. You can't sit and go through that process like you used to be able to do when these guys all like to bring up Nintendo and Sony back in the day and how they did it. And again, they always ignore the fact that Sony bought up a lot when they first walked in. But that's besides the point. If you want to go that route, they ignore the complete fact that Microsoft is not competing in the console market anymore. Yes, it's there. Yes, it's important. It's an entry point. But they have a lot bigger picture. And this subscription service is a beast that needs to be fed. And they ignore the fact that Microsoft is buying all of this stuff to insulate themselves from the rest of the industry. So when Sony goes and does their deals, Xbox doesn't have to worry about it so much anymore. That they will have enough studios, enough content to support their subscription service without worrying that they're going to go have to pay double and triple the price to pull a game away as a timed exclusive from whatever Sony's offering.
Yeah.
And that's the part that bothers me the most. These professionals, quote unquote, these journalists, quote unquote, ignore what is something that is not new. It is now 6 years into this plan that Phil presented to Satya and convinced him to do. And they still act like they don't have any clue, Mav, that this is how this works.
It's a
You're not going to have a you're not going to have a I'll end it here. I'll let you take it. You're not going to have a subscription service and have Sony running around buying up timed exclusivity, buying up their own studios, and then every time Microsoft thinks they got a deal done to bring something to the Game Pass or to bring it to the console or bring it to PC, all of a sudden Sony steps in and says, wait, hold on. Here's what we'll give you. And all of a sudden Stellar Blade is gone completely. You can't run a business with that unknown, that risk factor involved. When you start acquiring as much as Xbox has, you take away that risk. You give yourself a surety. Of course, there's still risk that your games aren't going to come out great. You saw it in Redfall. But you mitigate much of the risk that you take control of your own destiny instead of putting it in the hands of third parties, which is exactly what we've seen Sony do now for the entire last generation. And it's come back to bite them now because they're unprepared for what Microsoft is doing. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying it's like to your point about not acknowledging the business model,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
This is something that we notice among most games media still, even some in the Xbox community or some that break a lot of Xbox news. And it seems to me that there's just a lack of overall understanding because for the longest time, it was console versus console versus console, right? And these people's minds are trapped into this era still. And everything that they perceive out there still relegates to that battle. You know what I mean? And you can tell based on the stuff that's written, it's like, are you not aware of what they're trying to do or what the business model is and what Microsoft's goals are, the bigger picture scheme of things that they've talked about several times? The reason why they're acquiring some of these studios, the reason why they're acquiring ABK, the reason why the subscription service even exists, the reason why crossplay exists, the reason why cross progression, cross buy exists, the reason the cloud exists. I mean, all these things, like, just it's like, nope, all that matters is console versus console versus console. And it's like, yeah, it's a factor. It's a big factor, but it's only one piece of the bigger puzzle for Microsoft. And a lot of times you see these articles or the talk or the conversation, especially between the fanboy warriors and stuff like that, is that's what it's relegated to. And that makes more sense if you're coming from a Nintendo perspective or a PlayStation perspective, where those are the places that you play the games and that's the only option, right? Yeah. And now PlayStation eventually is going to get to that point. So for those two systems, it makes a lot of sense to have that argument. And I think because a lot of this industry that involves console gaming is still trapped in that time period, they're still lumping Microsoft and Xbox in with that. and not looking past what's actually going on with the user base, the monthly active users, amount of subscribers that actually get access to the subscription service, as opposed to PlayStation Plus Extra subscribers. That's way lower than Game Pass, right? So there's different metrics here that just are not really understood and thought about when they're comparing and making these articles. And the biggest thing for me with that gamesindustry.biz article, which there's about 50 articles I could probably go through and just tear apart this one week. So I'm picking apart I was picking apart that one specifically because it was just so ludicrous throughout the entire thing. And I could tell the person believed what they were saying, which is scary, right? So the biggest picture for me was disregarding all the games that are slated to come out the next few years that are been in development, all of the stuff. It's like it doesn't exist to them, right? Which you can say, well, we need to see them for them to exist. But like,
absolutely,
if you're a games journalist, like you should be smarter than that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, to disregard the stuff going on at Compulsion, at In Exile, at Obsidian, at Double Fine, at id, at, you know what I mean, all these different studios that have not yet revealed their projects, but we know they're working on stuff, is just ludicrous. Not only that, but disregard the games that have already been announced as well, that a lot of people are going to be looking forward to. It's been a while since we've seen them. That's one of the reasons we criticize Xbox's marketing at times, because the messaging isn't good enough, because it creates conversations where people forget that they exist, you know. And I think that this showcase this year is going to put a lot of things in perspective. At least Xbox, that's what Xbox's job should be, right? Because if people forget, you got to remind them. You know, you got to remind the people out there what's coming, because you shouldn't have to rely on people like me and our community to try and remind people all the time. You know what I mean? Right. So ultimately, if journalists forget, if journalists don't even know what's going on, and that should be their job, right? Then there's a problem that needs to be addressed. Or it could just be blatant ignorance because they just actually don't give a shit about Xbox and don't have a clue what's going on. Correct. That's the other possibility, which we see that if you look through the thread that was on Twitter where I was testing the double standard narratives, because you know, if you tell PlayStation players that they got no games, it's
right. You didn't even put it that way.
No, I didn't. It just was absolutely hilarious. I was actually dying, and just messing with the people. And I don't troll a lot, you know. But there was only a couple people who saw through me there that know me and were like, "I know what you're doing, Mav." Right? Yeah. But like these PlayStation diehards are like, get so defensive about any kind of criticism towards PlayStation whatsoever. It's like, what do you mean? We're eating good. We got this VR game that I don't even play because I don't have a VR headset. We got this game that came out every year, comes out every year, and even though you get to, and I said, yeah, that's cool. I'm playing it in Game Pass right now. It's my favorite game so far this year, you know. Yep. And then but we got Spider-Man 2. Like, okay, are you sure? Right. I hope so. I hope so. I hope we can get Spider-Man 2 this year for PlayStation fans. But then it's like, well, but you know, they fill it in with third-party games. Okay, right. So I'm like, cool, yeah.
They don't want to compete.
Forspoken was fire, right? Yeah. So if that's your model, right? If exclusivity of filling your pipeline with third-party games is the model for PlayStation, my argument is, how is that any worse than a Redfall bad game? If Sony's investments in marketing and pipeline revolves around third-party exclusives, right? So if that's that important to the PlayStation model, it matters when a Babylon's Fall happens. It matters when a Forspoken happens. It matters when a Godfall happens, right? But those get swept under the rug because guess what? Oh, they're not our games. We didn't make those, right? But we're also dependent on them. Right. So are we dependent on them or are we not? Because
the fans don't think so at all.
They don't think so, but that was their argument in this entire thread about the content. Yes. Like the most talked about thing was, oh, it's okay because we got third party exclusives. Yeah, right. We
got Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah. So do third party exclusives, are they the model for PlayStation or are they not? Some would argue in the past that they're not, but if they have a weak first party year, all of a sudden it's the model for PlayStation. Before that, it was just icing on the cake. Right. So my argument is bad games matter if they're third-party exclusives still, right?
Sure.
It's just simple as that. Your investment lies with certain resources with every platform holder. Like Xbox has a certain amount of money to put towards things, PlayStation does, Nintendo does. And if the resources get to paying for these games instead of developing your own, right, to be on your platform only, that's where your resources are going. And you're relying on those to be successful. And it hasn't happened. That's why, guess what? PlayStation has sold less games. You're on mute again, bro.
I just unmuted. Oh my God. I swear to Christ. Someday I'll actually have a professional setup, guys. Not that it'll help me at all, but whatever. No, what was I saying? What did you just say? Oh my God, old brain. Jesus. What a terrible
I was talking about third-party games being the model, right? And how it's contradictory to say that they don't matter when they flop and that they're the model when they're successful. So it is what it is.
I lost my quip. Anyways, no, again, you will never win. That was my point. You will never win with that side. That side has been trained now to the point where that is the actual response. 600 days without a showcase. Can you imagine if Microsoft went 600 days without a showcase? Over 600 days now. 600 days without a showcase. Can you imagine what we'd be hearing?
Yeah.
And then you have a year like this on top of it. At least last year, right? At least last year when Xbox had zero output from AAA, at least they still put on an E3 show. And whether or not you agree with it, the 12-month thing, which we've talked about plenty here, and obviously Phil knows better now, but they still showed some things. They still out there talking. Sony, again, outside of state of plays, nothing about where they're going.
Nope.
Nothing about supposedly all these games. And yes, I do know they have games in development. Yes, I do believe they have almost 2 per studio coming in the bigger studios in development.
Are we concerned about PlayStation? Not a chance.
Nobody's saying no. They just closed down and canceled one of the sci-fi shooters this week, Matt. Laid off 60% of the staff or whatever the hell it was, supposedly at that studio. Nobody talks about it, Matt. It's barely a peep. But the minute Microsoft lose 1 or 2 people out of one of their studios, oh God!
Yeah, when one person leaves.
Oh my God! What is going on?
Xbox, Phil. This person left Xbox. Oh my God! The studio doesn't know how to make games.
Here's a full entire game, and according to everybody, it was less. It was less than 2 years away.
Yeah.
It was somewhere probably within the next year and a half coming out. And they canceled the entire project out of the blue. And this was one of their sci-fi shooters that they were kind of hoping for, a new IP. Done. Laid off 60% of the staff, but nobody asking questions what's going on. Nobody.
Nope.
Again, these companies go through this stuff. It's still a business at the end of the day. And there's a lot of unanswered questions. And yes, as Mav and I have talked about here and elsewhere, of course, it's up to Microsoft to fix a lot of the questions. But those questions will always exist to a certain section, and part of the media will be included in that section. And that's what Mav has pointed out. That's what I've done when I've gone on my journalistic rants. It's constant, and it never changes, no matter what's going on. And again, the absolute, willful ignorance or intellectual dishonesty, whichever one you want to roll with is terrible from a professional journalist. They ignore everything that Xbox has been doing over the past 6 years. Like it just doesn't exist. Like we're still back in the early 2000s. Like this is still Xbox 360 versus PS3 era. And it's funny back then, Mav, and this goes back to part of the training. Xbox really was on a roll, as we all know, in the 360 era. They really had a chance. That's why losing last gen as bad as they did has caused a lot of this. Is because during the 360 generation, people don't remember. We didn't have social media like this at all. People were still console warring, but it was in forums back in the day. But it was funny. We had a Sony Defense Force. That's what it was called back then. We didn't have ponies back then. We had SDF, the Sony Defense Force. And if you went into any forum, when the PS3 first launched, the cell processor was shit. Devs did not want to work on that thing. It was overpriced. It wasn't selling. And PlayStation stayed strong because they were so egotistical. They could not admit that they made a mistake. And Xbox 360 was rolling with timed exclusivity, exclusives, some of them because nobody wanted to work on the cell processor. So studios were like, yeah, we're just going to put our game on 360, screw Sony. But that generation, even though people like to say, well, Sony won it in the end, and that's technically true, but we know part of the numbers were there because of the Blu-rays, all that kind of stuff. I don't have to go through it. But the fact that Microsoft made that generation that close, and even at the end of the generation, they lost number-wise to the PS3. You did not see this in the forums because you had so many Xbox fans. It was even most of the time with the SDF. Journalists could not ignore the 360 and what it meant. They could not ignore the Gears of War. They could not ignore the BioShock. They could not ignore the Mass Effects. And they could not ignore that most of those games played better on the 360 than they did the PS3 because of the cell processor problem. So you didn't have this back then. It flipped last generation with what happened to Microsoft and how bad. And that's why Phil said what he said. On top of the digital age coming to fruition, Phil also knows that was the worst generation to lose because this is what you wind up with. A bunch of people trained in the Sony way. And there is no goalpost. There is no winning. There's none of that. And that's a sad part. But I thought your between your solo show and your post was great. I want to bring up this too real quick, Matt, while we're here too. This is kind of off the cuff stuff here, but 3-Bit put out a post. Brother 3-Bit, he put out a post this week too, Matt. Yeah. That was quite interesting. Actually got huge traction in a multitude of ways. And this kind of goes back to what we were just talking about, the discourse and how this goes down between the different consoles. 3-Bit simply put out a post this week, Mav, saying place your bets early game of the year contenders.
Yeah.
And in classic 3-Bit fashion, right? Number one, and this was part of the discourse, which was absolutely hilarious to me. In classic 3-Bit fashion, he meant to put Jedi Survivor, but he put a picture of Jedi Fallen Order in there, which is classic 3-Bit. Yeah. It's just absolutely hilarious. He had Spider-Man 2 in there. He had Starfield. And of course, he had Zelda. And it was a simple tweet. Just place your bets on Game of the Year contenders. 3-Bit put underneath, my bet is on Starfield. The responses, Mav, to a neutral post that included a third-party game and included 3 of the big 3 games in there. Maybe he put Hogwarts in there instead of Spider-Man.
He said place your early Game of the Year bets. Yep. Runner-ups. So he posted pictures of Hogwarts Legacy, Starfield, Zelda, and Jedi Fallen Order, which should have been Survivor. Right. And then he said runner-ups, Diablo 4, Spider-Man 2, and Final Fantasy 16. Mm-hmm. So you can only post 4 pictures on a post, right?
Yes.
So he put 7 games in there.
Yeah. But the response, the vitriol, and this is just what I can see. 3-Bit hit us up in the DMs and said, you should see my DMs right now.
Yeah.
He was getting people DMing him from that simple post. Spider-Man 2 is going to crush everything. Fuck, Starfield sucks. Xbox sucks. Sony's still best ever. Bro, like he included like everybody in this whole conversation. And then you had the Nintendrones, right? Going, oh, Zelda's crushing everything else. Screw all the other systems. Switch is the best. You don't need anything else. Blah, 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 blah. Like, I was like legit reading through these people's comments. Last look, it was over 400.
It's 472 now.
472 comments.
Yeah, with 57 retweets.
Right. Starfield's gonna suck, Bethesda. Fuck you, X-Boy. Oh my God. Like the comments, because he just simply asked for everybody to place their bets, Matt, on early game of the year. Like, it's like we can't even have neutral conversations anymore.
No. It's a war. Insane. It's all out war.
It's insane to me, man. But shout out to 3-Bit for bringing the discourse. And again, Like I said, that was just what was visible. He said his DMs were ridiculous. He had people DMing him over this.
Yeah.
And we all know 3-Bit. 3-Bit will make comments from time to time. He will correct people from time to time. But 3-Bit is barely on Twitter most of the time. And when he posts, it's generally speaking something about devs or something cool about a game.
Or a picture of himself because he likes
or
to show
a picture of himself modeling or whatever doing at the gym. Okay, that's what he does. And this is the kind of talk we get, folks. And that's why, and we're going to get into it right here, man. I didn't even do my intro.
Yeah, hi.
Anyway.
How are you doing, Pong? What you been playing?
I'm doing great. You know what we did? We did the Xbox too. We did the Jez and Rand where we just roll in, start talking shit. And that's how the beginning of the show starts. Yeah, hi, everybody. Pong Soul. Been a great week. Gaming-wise, I'm all over Age of Wonders 4. Absolutely incredible. Again, superseding all my expectations. Made multiple posts about this. Shout out to Triumph Studios. They announced, and Age of Wonders announced, fastest selling Age of Wonders game ever. Imagine that, Mav. It's no longer just PC. It's also on console. Suddenly they have their fastest selling Age of Wonders all time. They sold 250,000 copies in 4 days. Hats off to Triumph Studios. Hats off to Paradox for making this happen. Open up that player base. Give more people a chance. I'm not saying the consoles are the majority of that. This is still a PC-centric game. Don't get me wrong. But you open it up to more people discovering a great game and discovering possibly a new favorite genre of theirs in strategy, 4X strategy, by having this game available. Because we have so few examples, good examples of 4X strategy on console. Everybody knows Civ. Everybody knows Civ. And then we got a bunch of others. And some of them are good, but people don't recognize them. You bring something like Age of Wonders 4 that brings a completely different flavor. This is what you get. You increase your fan base. So at every turn, I'm congratulating this team. I'm posting about it when I can. And absolutely amazing game. Absolutely loving it. It's so much fun. I already had 2 victories. I'm on my 3rd. I created a dwarf faction this time, playing something completely different than I normally would. Melee-based, overpowering dwarf faction this time around. Just having a great time. Story mode is awesome. I played through the first story mode. Really, this game is a complete game. So if you're looking for 4X strategy, yes, it does have some performance problems here and there, but I still have not had a crash. Still have had 0 problems with it. There's some quality of life stuff they could improve upon, but nothing game breaking, nothing out of the norm. It is simply just an awesome experience if you're into 4X strategy. So Age of Wonders 4 has been my jam. I went back to some more Shadow Warrior 3, getting closer and closer, played through a couple more levels of that, getting closer and closer to beating it. Mav, I might actually, even more rare than me beating a game, like this is going to be close to 1,000 out of 1,000. The way it's lining up.
Wow, really?
You're gonna wise.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Some would say that's the only way to truly complete a game.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know. I'm not a true gamer. I don't
Yeah.
game the right way. So no, I get it. But yeah, no. So I went back to that a little bit. Trying to think if I did anything else. No, just getting ready for Diablo this weekend. Fortunately, this weekend's looking busy, so it's not the perfect weekend for it. But I got the Server Slam beta downloaded again. I had to wipe out Call of Duty map. Since we haven't played it yet, and me and Caitlin do have to go back and play it. But I did wipe that out to fit Diablo back in again.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for that this weekend. And in fact, Mav, are you working tomorrow? Are you going to be off in the afternoon?
In the afternoon, I have a work appointment.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually getting out. I put in a lot of hours early this week. I'm actually getting out early, so I'm going to be on the Server Slam early because it starts at 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and noon Pacific Time. So that's when the Server Slam opens up. So I'm going to be home early. I'm going to be home probably like 3. So,
I hope I have a couple hours to get in before the show tomorrow night.
Yeah.
That's
but
if not, I'll be playing tomorrow night after. Yeah. I love the name of it, Server Slam. It sounds like a wrestling event.
Yeah, I watched the dev direct. I don't know if you saw that, the new dev diary where they talked about the season pass and stuff. And again, Blizzard is doing it so right. Their transparency through this entire process. And yes, I know some of the hardcore fan base are worried. I know again, you're never going to please everybody. There's a lot of people talking about they don't know what they're doing. What are they going for? They're trying to go casual. Is it an MMO? Is it Diablo? There's so much of that. Listen. Diablo 4, right now, with the way that they're handling it, with their future plans, they talked about it, Mav. They are going to have large story expansions down the road.
Yeah.
This game is going to be permanently downloaded in my hard drive for probably the next 5 to 7 years. It's not going anywhere. At least. The way they are setting up everything is absolutely perfect. And the way that they are handling the fan base. And again, if you're one of the hardcore Diablo fans, I get you. It's not exactly what you wanted. That's fine. There's other games now that you can go play. Path of Exile, etc. That's fine.
Still play Diablo 3 if that's what you want.
Yeah, I wish you guys would jump into this, though, because I do think Diablo 4 has a chance. Yes, they're going for a bigger audience than they ever had before, and that is fine because they are still, unlike Diablo 3, in which they try to do the World of Warcraft graphics to grab other people. They have ditched that. They have listened to the hardcore fan base. Now we get bloody, serious, deep, dark, grimy Diablo again.
Yeah.
If they want to do some casual stuff with it, so be it. I don't give a fuck. The way they're setting this game up is perfect. Okay? It's going to be great. They talked about how the season pass is probably going to come. The first season will start sometime in July, towards the end of July. If you want to get through your first character, you want to do it. You want to get in there and get it done. I think they're going to give it like 7 weeks, 8 weeks, maybe something like that to get through that first character. Once you beat the campaign, from then on forward, you can skip the campaign for every new season. You do not have to do the campaign. If you start a season character, because you will have to create a new character for the season, if you start a new character and you do choose to start the campaign, you will have to finish the campaign, just so you guys are aware of that. But if you finish the campaign with the kind of before season stuff with your first character, then you can just skip campaign, roll right in, and just start rolling through the open world. You will start at level 1. They also announced absolutely no pay to win whatsoever. The ashes that everybody was afraid of, you were going to get some of those in the premium battle pass. Nope. All the ashes are available in the free pass. So there will be no pay to play. And then some people said, yeah, but if you buy the ultimate edition, or if you buy the big season pass, you get to skip 20 levels. So therefore you're going to get those ashes in advance. Nope, because they made a secondary level requirement to open those up. So therefore there will be nobody skipping ahead whatsoever. It's all aesthetics. That's all it is. Cosmetic stuff. That's it. They're going to have a pay store as well with cosmetics. They talked about that as well. Of course, Diablo 4 is going to be around for the next decade, Matt, don't you think? At least.
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, that's like, really this year, the 2 games could have came out and I'd been happy. Starfield and Diablo 4.
Yep.
I'd be like, well, that's a great year for me. Yep. Like, don't need anything else. On top of that, we got all these RTSs coming out. Still the Age of Empires 4. We got like, if you're Final Fantasy 16, like, there's so many great games.
We're gonna talk about that too. 2023. Yeah. So yeah,
like it's insane. And Diablo 4, as was it Forbes or Bloomberg said, might be a surprise hit.
It might be a little surprise.
Might be a surprise hit. Yeah, I think that Diablo 4 is going to be an utterly massive game. Going to be playable on everything.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just going to be the biggest Diablo game ever. You know, like the biggest launch ever for Diablo. They got the coolest name for a beta test ever with Server Slam. You know, it's just oozes badass. You know?
What's his face? Joe from Blizzard. I forget his last name. He said SummerSlam while he was talking about it.
Did he?
And they made fun of him. Yeah, he accidentally said SummerSlam. They were dying. It was awesome. Ferguson was there for this one.
It's just badass. Like this game, like we couldn't stop playing it. Like if the betas before that we already played would have been like 5 weeks, you know, we would have played like
still played
hundreds of hours. You know what I mean?
Yes.
it's just an amazing experience. They nailed it, everything I could want from what I played so far. Now, when we get to the in-game stuff and see how much legs it has, how much attention I give it compared to some of the other games coming out this year down the line, but there have no doubt to think that this is going to be one of my most played games this year. And yes, it'll stay on every place I have the ability to play its hard drive for forever, probably.
And this will be so good on the cloud.
Yeah, I still got Diablo 3 installed on most of my stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's going to replace that. That's for sure.
Absolutely. 100%. They also talked about, since we're here, I'll just talk about this now. We'll roll into Zelda, I think we'll start off with. If you got, do you have a sponsor too? We gotta get
no, we're good.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay. They also talked about some people had a bunch, of course, people had a ton of questions. They were answering as many questions as they possibly could. Cosmetics. If you purchase cosmetics, it will be available for your characters forever across no matter how many different characters you make. Those cosmetics will be available. It doesn't matter. They will stay there. What else was there? There was some questions about, let's see, we talked about the skip campaign. Mounts. Once you open up the mounts, once you complete the campaign, you open up the mounts, obviously through one of the missions in the campaign. They confirm that you do have to go through the campaign missions to open up the mount. So if you're one of those people that avoids the mainline campaign for a while and goes off, you will not have your mount until you actually do play through the campaign. They said it's approximately, and again, this is all depending on how you play, approximately level 30, you should get to that mission to open up the mount. Once you open up the mounts, if you skip the campaign the next time around, obviously the mounts are available to you right away. So you're starting level 1 with mounts and you're out the gate. So you don't have to worry about that either, which was really cool to hear. They talked about the rotation system for the dungeons again, how that was going to work out. They talked about how they are prepared to, on the fly, be balancing this game. And they are going to be looking hard and heavy at every single class, and they're going to be balancing often. They do not want one class. They don't want the meta class kind of thing. They want everybody to play their favorite class, how they want to play it, and not feel like they're missing out on some super secret meta kind of overpower OP type class that is just crushing everything. So they said they will be watching that closely and adjusting constantly. Really talked about player feedback, really transforming how the game moves forward down in the future. Again, each season will have a theme to it, which will obviously reflect in the armor that's available through the battle pass, the things that are available in the store. They did not give away what the first theme was going to be. They put top secret because even the title and some of the graphics supposedly gave it away a little bit. So, but each season will have a theme, but it will not impact the story at all. They said that those are going to be for the big expansions they have planned down the road. They will be introducing new storylines, all of that kind of stuff down the road. So big plans for Diablo 4. And like I said, Blizzard is doing this the right way, in my opinion. They are crushing how they're talking to the fan base. They're absolutely nailing this 100%.
For sure.
So, yeah, excited. All right, Math.
We have a couple super chats to get to.
Get those super chats, brother, and then I'll read off some names in the chat, and then we'll get down to business. We kind of did this. This was unconventional beginning to our show.
It was. We just kind of went right into some like stuff, you know. But $5 super chat from the Blue. Shout out to my buddy the Blue
one, you fraud.
He said, "What up? What up? Who ready for more Diablo?"
Oh,
if you heard our conversation just now, definitely us for sure. Psychonauts hit us with a $2 super chat. Said PlayStation has no games. shout out to Psycho.
Shout out to Psycho.
Rob the Don 202 with the $5 says, "I'm having a tough time believing Sony canceled the space game because it was most likely Cory Barlog's new game."
No, it was a smaller studio. It was one of their partners.
Yeah, it's different.
The name of it.
Different game.
Yep.
But yeah,
maybe
there's
that's why though.
Yeah,
Barlog's too close to it.
Yeah, they shuttered the studio, and it's never good news. The most important thing is, hopefully the devs find new work somewhere and all that kind of stuff, right?
Especially since they just closed the Dream Studio too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's 2 studios within the past.
Why is there not
months.
some outcries? I don't understand.
I don't know.
You know, if PlayStation's doing so great, why do they need to close their studios? I don't understand it, man. What double standards out there? One person, like you said, leaves Xbox, or they have some layoffs in one studio. It's like the world's over, right? Outright closures of a couple studios for PlayStation. Not a peep. Ain't no peeps out there. No
GI.biz articles.
No article saying what's going on at PlayStation right now. You know, why is their user base down? Why are people buying less games? It's weird to sell 30% more consoles and break records for console sales, and you actually sell less games than you did before. I don't understand how that.
It's something.
Yeah. So whatever that reason is, it just is what it is, right? Am I worried about PlayStation? No. I think PlayStation's still going to have a great year this year. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And was my post completely, utterly just trying to bring out the double standards and all the idiots out there that trash on Xbox all the time and have to defend themselves over the fact that PlayStation only has really one big first-party game releasing this year? Yeah, that's exactly what it was, because Xbox has released 5 so far on Xbox, but the double standards, like which ones count, which ones don't, as well as like one bad game with Redfall all of a sudden is the identity of Xbox, where they have a track record of actually having high quality reviews in their games for
but those don't
a
count
few years now. So
no, 2021 doesn't count, man.
You can actually count as many bad game releases for third party and first party exclusives from PlayStation than you can on Xbox. Where was the outcry when Destruction All Stars released? Was there any outcry? But like, oh, PlayStation's like doomed because of one bad game.
We're just trying something new, man.
Yeah, it's so weird, man. Especially when there's so much coming up for Xbox. It's just double standards. Exposed. You're exposed. I would love to read some of those comments sometime on that post, but maybe we'll save that for another stream.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
because they were interesting.
Very.
Any more super chats?
I think we're caught up.
We are an hour into the show. We're going to get into some Zelda talk right now, because we do have to recognize greatness when it does show up, no matter what Mav and I think about it. Again, that is the difference. We do talk the talk and walk the walk here, and that's how we think about things. This isn't forced when we're going to talk about Zelda, at least from my side, and I think I could speak for Mav as well. We recognize greatness. And again, that was a part of our every conversation we had when it came to the games of 2023 and what 2023 could potentially be in terms of historical. Zelda was always included, even though Mav has his reasons. He has his Nintendo rants. I have my reasons and have not owned Nintendo systems since the Super Nintendo. All of that doesn't make a difference to us. When it comes to great games, got to respect the hustle, got to respect what happens. And when a game shows up to 97s, we got to talk about it. So we're going to get into that. But let me shout out the chat real quick. An hour in, we got over 100 people again checking us out. If you have not hit that like button and you enjoy what Mav and I do here, please do continue to hit that like button. And if you have a moment, share it out. Let everybody else know that we are live. We've been seeing a lot of growth, a lot of new people show in, show out, which is fantastic. And whether you're stopping in here for 5 minutes, whether you're just lurking in the background or engaging in the chat, love you all the same. So thank you for being here. Listen, Superman, great to see you. God Emperor Sofa Keen, thank you for dropping in here. Eastside Vandal, the one and only, on in here as well. Of course, we've got brother from another, SpookyTBG is in the house. What's going on, Spook? Great to have you in here. Donald J. Trump 69, what is going on, man? Great to have you in here as well. A fan. Well, whatever you're a fan of, glad to have you a part of our show as well. Dropping in here. Talos Re is in the house. Of course, the one and only Fahim Scott is in here as well. Kempy showed up in here. What's going on, Kempy? Great to see you. Micah Ford, what's going on, brother? Great to have you a part of the show. Free Bear is in the house. Free Bear, great to see you as well. Big Mad Mo is in the house. What's going on, Big Mad? Great to have you. Always jumping in our chats, man. Nix, the one and only Nix. Talk about stirring pots. Nix likes to do that up in the chat. Nix, great to have you in here, sir. Always bringing a little spice to it. Red Monkey Butt. What's going on, man? One of my favorite names in the community, Red Monkey Butt. Great to have you. Always dropping in our chats as well. Punty050. What's going on, Punty? What else? Who else? Donnie Skills is in the house. What's going on, Donnie? Slipspace Games is in here. What's going on, Slipspace? We got Dion Hayes in the house. What's going on, Dion? Thank you for dropping in here and saying hi. Astro Frost is in here. Great to have you a part of the show. AJH, of course, in the house as well. Who else? We got Spittin' or Spitin' 13. Every time I come across that name, I do that. What's going on? Great to have you dropping in here, saying hi to us. We got Mr. Ordinary VX. I bet you there's nothing ordinary about you, sir. Great to have you a part of our show, as always. Jagger Blaze Alex, what's going on, Jagger Blaze? Great to have you in here. Jagger Blaze, whichever one you want to go with. Let's see here. We got ATLs in the house. ATL, what's going on? One of my old school chat mates from back in the day when I first hopped in the community before I was podcasting. Me and ATL used to show up in a lot of shows together and say what's going on. I'm a Pony is in here. I'm here and I'm a Pony. Well, welcome. I'm a Pony. Great to have you a part of the show. And another super chat, by the way. I'll do this one. Alvin, what's going on, brother? Thank you for always supporting the show. $5 super chat. I don't respect tiers of 20 FPS as greatness or the opinions of the ninty flating media. Sorry for the spice. Hit the like, folks. Alvin, that's okay. You can come in here and talk your talk, brother. No problem whatsoever. And I understand completely where you're coming from. We got the one and only Splendiferous is in the house. Who else we got? Man, you guys are chatting up a storm, man. Name after name. PJG, what is going on? Poison Maniac, how's it going, man? Great to have you in here as well. Who else am I missing? Because there is like a lot of names in here. Let me go back down to the bottom, see who jumped in here real quick. WhySoSerious is here. As always, the Beer Baron is coming through, bringing beer for everybody. What's up, Beer Baron? How the heck are you? Who else we got in here? We got Miguel jumping in here. What's going on, Miguel? Great to see you as well. Let me go back towards the top here because I know there's early people that, oh my God, this chat has been crazy, man.
Yeah.
Masshole 1970. The beautiful, the one, the only Miss Caitlin is in the house as always. Thank you again for doing the thumbnail and all you do behind the scenes. Void Rat, great to have you a part of the show. Jason Max is on in here. The one and the only John Wolf is in the house. John, great job on Boom Show the other morning, man. Heard you. Nice job. Great conversation. Milky Sweater is in the house. What's going on, Milky? Big supporter, always retweeting. Thank you, sir. As always. And if I missed you, but I think we got everyone. You already shout out the blue one because he had a super chat. Jigga J, got to shout out one of the OGs. Jigga J is in the house. What's going on, Jigga? Great to see you in here. Abdi, I see you. Will Free Rosario, of course, dropping on here as well. So yeah.
We get Thiz Payne. What's up, guys? Thiz Payne. What up? We also got another super chat from Rob Dadon 202.
Rob Dadon, what's going on?
With the $5 says, I believe the problem is the same as Marvel. They have cultivated fans that accept the biggest games, so smaller games don't get shine. Yeah. Very true, only certain games count.
Only certain games count. That was another interesting comment because somebody had talked underneath 3-Bit's comment and said Hi-Fi Rush, and somebody came in, oh, that trash-ash indie game. Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. It was on PlayStation. Guess what? It'd be being celebrated nonstop. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Remember Sifu?
Oh, yes, of course. Absolutely, of course.
Stray was nominated for Game of the
Year.
Up
for, and somebody brought that up.
You played as a cat and walked around and just licked your balls for a while. I mean, that's just like...
And PlayStation fans couldn't stop talking about Stray.
Yeah.
Jay Rembert dropped out in here. Got a shout out, Jay. And Don Sicario. What is going on, Don? All right, let's get down to business. Listen, Oscar Emilio A. Gonzalez. You got your full name in there. I love that, man. I love that. What's the A stand for? Let us know. Zelda.
Antonio. It's going to be Antonio.
Is it going to be Antonio?
I'm
going to go Armando.
Armando?
Yeah.
How about Angel? Angel.
Maybe. Or maybe it's something like Andrew. Who knows?
Could be.
It could be something crazy like that. All right. So, Tears of the Kingdom. Legend of Zelda. Man. I mean, again, Nothing is shocking about this whatsoever. This is something that we all said most likely was going to happen. Of course, again, nothing's a for sure thing. We don't deal in absolutes. At least I don't deal in absolutes. So nothing's a for sure thing. Obviously, there was plenty of ways that they could have screwed up Legend of Zelda. They had Zeldas in the past that the fan base can't agree upon. That has happened from time to time. It's rare, but it has happened. But let's be real. We knew all they had to do was take Breath of the Wild, expand upon it, like we talk about with any good sequel, add a couple mechanics, and we knew this was going to be Game of the Year. McCoy.
Yeah.
Right? We knew it.
Yeah, we were counting it in the Game of the Year discussion before the reviews ever hit.
Right.
Right? It's
correct. That's
gonna happen.
We know.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. 20
and again,
frames and all.
Yeah, this team has earned that.
Yeah.
And yes, we could talk about the frames. The day one patch locked it into 30. I watched the Digital Foundry video. The patch
day one
did
patch
lock it
on Nintendo games. I thought they didn't do that, Paul.
Well, they patched it before. Yeah, whatever. You know how Nintendo does it too because they got patch servers. So Digital Foundry pointed out that if they ever shut down the patch servers, you're going to go back to sub 30 frames. Anyways, there are still areas and they have plenty. I did think the reviewers were going to skip over, but I did see a good amount of the reviewers actually did talk about there are still some areas, some heavily populated areas where you will see it dip down. But we all knew that this was going to be acceptable. Again, Nintendo's genius, okay? And this is why I respect the hustle, man. They lower the expectation bar themselves by putting out subpar, right, old hardware when it launches. So they already set the expectation bar low. So nobody says peep about 30 frames, 20 frames when it comes to
People
Nintendo
are just amazed that they can get a fucking game running on the thing.
Amazed at an open world game.
Wow, the technological accomplishment to be able to put a game on the Switch.
Yes, Digital Foundry kept saying it. Yes, they kept talking about it. They kept talking about it. Can't believe that it runs this good.
So talented to be able to put a game on this device.
Right. This is genius, man. This is genius. Okay?
Genius.
It is. And you know what's even more genius, Mav, is they're going to launch the new console next year and they're going to resell the same game to you next year when it does run at 60 frames on the new hardware. And everybody's going to be like, all of us, how did we ever play games at 30 frames? That's when the Switch will happen. But they're going to get you for another $70 next year. Nintendo, genius. I tell you.
Genius.
So this game has come out to absolutely rave reviews. Again, one of the highest rated games of all time.
97 on Open.
97.
On Meta, 98 on Open,
yeah.
I think.
Yep, correct. It's up there with Red Dead Redemption 2. It's up there. What was the original Breath of the Wild? What did it finally sit at? Was that 98, 97?
It had to have been around there somewhere.
It was right around there. I can't remember if it beat the original Breath of the Wild. But from reading all the reviews, and I read a lot of them, it really did do what a sequel's supposed to do. Yes, you're
breaking. It's down to a 96 on Meta.
Ooh.
Oh,
did we got trouble? Hit?
We got trouble here.
Trouble paradise. Oh,
it's
shit.
Down to a 96.
Nintendo, what are you doing? Okay, forget Game of the Year.
Ooh,
okay,
somebody gave it a 60.
Oh my God, this will be lucky to sell 5 million copies. Okay, because this is how bad this is going. No, just obviously joking, everybody. Okay, I don't care. 96, 97, 98. This is generational type scoring. Again, we always say, who cares about scores? Game like this hits, everybody cares about scores. Right. The reviews all across the board, Mav, say that they took what they did in Breath of the Wild and simply made it bigger and better, right?
Yeah.
And they added mechanics. They added the building, more building to it. They kept the weapon breaking in it, which was one of the most divisive mechanics in Breath of the Wild. Steel is currently playing it on PC at 60 frames with a buffed up Link and with no weapon breaking. Okay. It is divisive to say the least. They kept it. However, this time they added crafting, Mav, so that you can basically craft a weapon out of anything. You could put two things together and make a weapon. So even if you break a weapon, all the reviewers said it takes no time at all to build yourself another one and you're on your way. So they kind of eliminated the problem with it. They added an underworld now as well. That's almost as big as a top world. Listen, Nintendo, went back into their bag, simply said, we've already got magic here. Let's not screw it up. Let's sprinkle some fairy dust. Let's make it look a little bit better. Let's add a sky world. Let's add an underworld and give the fans exactly what they want. And again, all you Zelda fans, all you Nintendo fans, congratulations. You guys got the game you all seemingly wanted. Now, I've seen some people say if you didn't like Breath of the Wild, if you are one of those people that didn't like Breath of the Wild, you're probably not going to like this game because that's what it is. But at the end of the day, you all got the game of the year quality game from Nintendo that they are known for, that you guys all want as Zelda fans, as Nintendo fans. This is going to be gigantic, man. We talk about this all the time. What do great games do? I saw today people saying because of the outpouring of love for this game, because of the hype surrounding this game, man, I literally saw people on Twitter say, I didn't have a real interest in Zelda, but now I got to go play this game. I saw other people say, I didn't really get into Breath of the Wild, but because the hype is so big on this, I've got to go play this game. This is what great games do. This has been a conversation lately. Matt, what are your thoughts on Tears of the Kingdom?
Impressive reviews. I'm still not excited to play it myself. Personally, it's a personal thing. I wish it was not released yet until the new Switch came out. Personally, yep. Especially knowing that it's within probably a year of release now, after comments actually from Nintendo saying that I think they said like April 2024 at the earliest. So they're putting smoke out there that within about a year or so. That being said, I guess Nintendo still got to release games. They can't just wait. But like for me, I have little confidence that they'll give us these games in a backwards compatible type scenario and update them to take advantage of the new hardware. I don't have much confidence in that. So for me, I would rather no games be released for Nintendo until they have a new device, personally. That being said, I got to respect the technical achievement of being able to put a game out on the Switch, and also the talent behind the Nintendo developers for creating such a well-received game.
Yep.
I think that one thing that can't ever be questioned with Nintendo is gameplay and game design. They just are kind of masters with that kind of stuff. They know how to make fun games, and ultimately that's what matters the most, right? Personal preferences and taste don't allow me to get excited for things on the device that it's on anymore, personally. So it's hard when something like this launches for me to actually not have the opposite effect in my mind of being more disappointed.
Sure.
Because I would rather not play it on that. I would rather play it on a better system, right? Mm-hmm. But it is what it is. So, I'm glad for everybody that's pumped for this game today. You're going to be extremely happy, especially if you've been happy with everything that they've been putting out the last few years. This is your magnum opus, right? Mm-hmm. This is the pinnacle of the Switch right here. This is the most badassness that the Switch will ever achieve, and that's within Tears of the Kingdom, and that's great. I congratulate you. I'm happy that you're going to be able to play this marvel on your Switch. I did put a tweet out there as asking if people are gonna be playing docked mode or handheld mode. Maybe it depends on if they have VRR on their screen. Does this even support something like that? I don't even know if this
but they do have FSR1 in this map.
Do they?
And what's interesting is Digital Foundry said in handheld mode it runs at 720p.
Okay.
In docked it's 1080.
Okay, that's good.
Which is good, right?
1080, 30 frames with some dips down to like 20 occasionally.
In very occasional spots. Supposedly. Yeah, very occasional. But they said that you can see the resolution adjust itself, whether the camera's moving or not, depending on how far away where the pixels are in relation to you. You can see it actually happen, and Digital Foundry was moving the panning. And you could see it happen, but they still said that overall it's very impressive that they used FSR1. and got it to do 1080p docked. Like they said that's again for this type of open world
Technical
game,
marvel on the Switch, right?
Yes, with the physics involved that they use and all that kind of stuff that this is. And they showed again there are things in this game that most AAAs don't ever try.
Yeah.
Like again, just the way the grass responds to Link as he's moving through it, the way that the wind actually moves different materials in different ways. Like those types of things we just don't see a lot. And what they do with their lighting is impressive because they were showing off like the thunderstorms that can randomly happen and the lightning casting shadows. I mean, that's little things in atmosphere that we don't see all the time in big AAA games. So just stupid stuff like that. That they were impressed with, that they said that was basically a marvel or a miracle at this point on this hardware. Because again, the hardware is, oh my God, stupid, stupid old. I do have to give another quick shout out to Nintendo for their marketing ad. I know some people thought the ad was a little weird, but I gotta say, again, this is the stuff that is missed. This comes from another company who has been doing this for decades and decades and understands the psychology behind marketing at the highest levels. I don't know if you saw the ad for this, Mav. I don't know if you saw the ad for Tears of the Kingdom. With the business guy who's kind of going through his mundane life, running, riding on a bus, and you can kind of see his kind of energy levels are down. He's kind of depressed. He's got to ride on a bus every day, and it sucks. And he goes home, and it's kind of like just, hey, whatever. It's my house. I'm done with a long day at work. And then he sits down on his couch, and he notices a Tears of the Kingdom box sitting there. And he picks up the controller, and he turns on the TV. And the way they do this, it's so subtle, but it's so fantastic because, again, this may be boring to some people, but this is the stuff I love. I love psychology. I love marketing. I love this kind of stuff. Again, my dad has been doing marketing now for 50 years. So this kind of stuff is stuff that I heard about and talked with my dad about for a long time. So this stuff always picks up. But he sits down and he doesn't just go into the game like he's a gamer, Mav. This is an average Joe who's not a gamer. And you can watch him as he's trying to build things within Zelda, move the character, get to do his first battle. He's not playing it like he's a gamer. He's playing it like you can see him looking down at his controller, like trying to figure out what buttons he's supposed to push, right? And then he's looking back at the TV. And slowly but surely, he gets better at it and better at it. Then they show him later on back on the bus again with the Switch, playing it on the bus and doing all these crazy cool things within the world. And then there's the final scene kind of where they show Zelda kind of flying through the air on one of the contraptions, right? And then he looks outside and he sees the blue sky with the clouds, and he's just got this big smile on his face.
Right.
Like a whole different attitude. Like that genius level, like marketing your game not towards your Nintendo hardcore fans that you already know are going to be there, but marketing to the average people or the mom and dad who sees their kids playing the game and saying, no, this is a game for you too. Yeah. And you can sit down and play this game, and it's going to give you something special. It's going to give you a good feeling like being a little kid again. And just genius stuff. It's not the first time that there's been ads like this. We have other examples in the opposite direction. The Gears of War one is still the greatest example of a video game advertisement to me ever. Like that is by far the best one ever, hands down. But this I got to shout out to marketing, whoever did this. I saw some people say, "Oh, it was boring. I didn't like it." I just thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. Nintendo marketing's always spot on, man.
Yes. Like they've been doing it for so long.
Yeah,
I get it.
PlayStation's great marketing. Xbox has some great ads occasionally. But yeah, I think that they deserve a lot of credit for this, regardless of my trying to, kind of shit on the Switch as a device. Like it's it's great to see when games are received this well. Period.
Yeah.
No matter what platform they're on.
Right.
When you see this amount of universal praise for something, it's good for gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And that's ultimately what matters the most, right? So praise, props to Nintendo.
Where's credits due?
If I do end up playing it, I'll probably play in handheld mode. Um,
Yeah.
so that way it's not on a big screen.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to what's for the future of Nintendo,
Yep.
and God, I hope that it's backwards compatible, and I hope we
Yeah.
get updates. That's
Yeah.
I can't wait for that to find that out. That'll be my biggest question.
And I hope it launches next spring because that means I win our bet because that's an
Yeah.
auto 20 points.
You gotta, with after the comments from them, you're looking pretty good right now. I wouldn't say March, but based on the comments, they said early, at least April. So you're looking at anytime between April and early May, man. You're in it. You're in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I did say that there would be a Mario and Metroid game releasing, or one of the two. So
probably Mario. Mario usually follows. Mario's followed Zelda lately. And they got to have one to launch the console with, one major.
They always do.
Brands.
They're fantastic at that. That's the other thing.
I hope this next device is just badass and really pushes the boundaries of what Nintendo can do. It doesn't need to be like a Series X, PS5 power, nothing like that. No. But if you can really push out the power of what's capable with whatever they make, and do get to 1080 60 frequently, or 1440 60 at least. Yep. On most of these bigger games, RPGs that have better fidelity, they have to use less tricks to try and get the most aesthetically pleasing stuff out of their games. It allows for more multi-plats, all these different kinds of things. I think it's going to be really good for gaming as well. But I do hope they bring some franchises that I love back with that. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say Star Fox, F-Zero. I want to see those come back in a big way. I think that they need to do some more deals with Sega, and Sega needs to start taking advantage of some of their classic games and bringing those back out on Nintendo's next device, or Xbox or whatever. Like Skies of Arcadia could really use a remake, or bring it a reboot or whatever, stuff
Xbox
like that.
Sega.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities, man, that just I feel like are not taken advantage of, even with Nintendo, right? Because they kind of focus on the same. We get Pikmin, you get Mario, you get Zelda, occasionally you get a Metroid thing now, you get Splatoon, right? You get the Mario spin-offs. Those are great things, but there's so many other great franchises from the past that I feel like could really be pushed forward, especially on whatever this next device is. So just don't do any of it anymore on the Switch. This should be the last Switch game to ever come out from Nintendo, and hold the rest off till the Switch 2. Or whatever you call it.
If the smoke's true, and they're going to NVIDIA, and they're going to be able to use DLSS and stuff, because they're going to use an NVIDIA chipset, I think what your expectations are probably pretty reasonable, to some degree. I don't think you're out of bounds. It's not going to compete with the Series X.
No, it doesn't need to. It just needs.
It doesn't need to. No. Nintendo's out of that game. They're in their sweet spot now. Listen, they're approaching. I just heard the other day they are over 900 million units of software sold on the Switch, man. 900 million. They're approaching 1 billion units of software sold on the Switch. That's just stupid. That's stupid. That is so much money. It's not even funny.
And Nintendo's almost single-handedly keeping physical purchases alive.
Yes. 100. Yes. Man, do we have any super chats or anything I missed?
No, we're good. Cut up.
Okay, good. Let's talk about this real quick. Grub this week put out his Summer Games Mess list earlier this week. And he's got PlayStation Showcase on there, Mav. Showcase. He's got it as the week of 25th of May. He clarified that it could happen prior to that. That he just put the week of the 25th as the latest that he thinks it will happen, but he said it could happen prior to that, but he didn't want to put a specific date out there and have everybody come after him if it didn't happen. So he put the week of May 25th. PlayStation Showcase, again, over 600 days since we've had a proper showcase. September of 2021 was their last proper showcase. And I would say that wasn't even the normal spectacular, oh my God, yeah, they announced Wolverine there, that kind of stuff. But it wasn't over the top like we've seen Sony do. Man, if this happens at the end of May, first of all, it's awesome if it happens at the end of May. Again, the back and forth between Xbox, Sony, and even Nintendo back in the day was one of the highlights of E3.
Yeah.
So if Sony has decided to finally come out of their hibernation and show off and show up with a proper PlayStation showcase, selling hopes and dreams, because we know, again, as we talked about in the beginning, they got Spider-Man 2, they got some third-party stuff. That's it this year. So we're talking hopes and dreams here. We're talking about next year and forward. What do you think? Do you think they're going to come big, or do you think that they are going to do more like the September 2021 showcase, have a couple surprises, but not show their entire hand like we've seen them do in the past? What do you think?
I think if I remember right, I really loved that September showcase.
It was a good showcase for sure, because they had Wolverine, which was giant.
Yeah.
Like that was huge.
I think I remember getting shit on from Xbox fanboys for liking it. No, that was the 2022 show. The 40-minute one they had.
The state of play.
I think so.
Because they haven't had a showcase since.
Yeah,
September
it was a state of play at 40.
Yeah.
It was like a 40-minute one or something that they had. I really liked, but I don't remember the 2021 show at all.
God of War Ragnarok was showing off. Then they had the Wolverine.
Horizon
what
Forbidden West, probably.
Horizon Forbidden West.
That was that
Resident
Spider-Man
Evil.
2 reveal at that one?
Yeah, I want to say yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Anyways.
I mean, that's pretty big, with all of those.
It's pretty big, but not what they've done in the past.
It's been so long now.
I know.
I feel like I can't remember, like I can remember pretty well the Xbox shows the last 2 years because it's like a consistent thing. It's hard to keep track of what was Sony's last thing and what did they do?
Right.
It's hard to remember.
You got all these little the little things in between. Yeah.
So I feel like it's time for PlayStation. Like, and the main reason is not to go back to that post I made. Like we just don't know a lot of what's coming in the pipeline from first party. Right. We know Spider-Man 2. We know Factions is coming.
We need an update on Factions. I'm going to say for Steel Rain, for Brother Steel Rain, I got to say we need an update on Factions.
Yeah. and we need and we know Wolverine, right?
Yep.
Besides that, though, there's not a lot of information on what they're making, right? So I feel like if they are doing an actual show, bigger show, it's for a reason. Yeah. It's to update people on their slate of games for the next couple years, maybe, and really go all out there and really try to sell. They got a lot of PlayStation 5s available, right? Still, they're selling like crazy, and this is going to be to sell even more like crazy. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get the reveal of the the PS5 slim down version there.
Yeah. Detachable hard drive.
Yeah, that would probably be there as well as
drive.
And it might be as revealed as with a Spider-Man 2 version of the console.
Yes,
right.
I said that a long time ago.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
So
for them.
I mean, I expect their console sales to go through the roof. Still, people are going to be really into the games that they probably show at this showcase, and rightfully so. I mean, like as long as they nail it, if they only stick to these same things they've been doing, it's not enough for me to really get excited for the show. I hope that we get a lot of game reveals. That's what I really want. And Spider-Man 2 is cool. Like I'm thinking it's probably gonna be a big game, but like it doesn't like these sequels of these games that are so similar to the games we've already been playing from PlayStation don't really like excite me that much because they are very samey. Like Miles Morales is extremely similar to Spider-Man. Right, it was originally supposed to be extra content for it, so I need to see like from Spider-Man 2 what's going to differentiate it to make it like exciting to play that instead of feeling like I'm doing the same things again. And now you can say, well, what about Zelda? Well, I feel the exact same way about Zelda. I'm just being honest, right? But it's Zelda, they did do a good job about showing some of the different gameplay mechanics and stuff like that, right? So, as far as other games, I hope they don't even have anything from PSVR 2 there, unless they actually have something good, because it's just it's a waste of time. I don't know. I appreciate them pushing it, the technology and stuff, but like I don't care about it at all, so I don't care about whatever they show from it. So it's personal taste, there will be maybe 2% of the PlayStation audience that cares a shit about what the VR stuff they show is.
Oh no, everybody's going to care about whether they own it or not because it counts as exclusive.
Oh,
so
you're right. I'll take that back. So I feel like Wolverine seeing that would be awesome.
Huge.
Like if we see Wolverine, we get a like snippet of like a real trailer, like showing kind of what the idea behind that game is. That will be massive. If we find out what that Cory Barlog game, that space game is, that would be a huge deal. You know, if we have updates from a Sucker Punch.
Haven, Sucker Punch,
yeah, like Haven is Jade Raymond's studio, right? Yeah, so Haven, that would be a big deal. Sucker Punch would be a big one for me. Like whatever it is next, if it's a Ghost of Tsushima 2, if it's a another Infamous game, I would love that personally. I don't think it's going to happen now because they're all tied into the superhero
franchises on Sony.
I love it. I love it. But they're tied so into the superheroes now. For them, like having their own superhero game that's not tied to Marvel, I don't know if they're going to do that, right? Because it would be almost directly competing against like Spider-Man in a weird way when Spider-Man's a much bigger game. So I feel like Sucker Punch is probably going to keep going in this direction that they have right now, which is great.
100. Yeah.
What's the Guerrilla Games? We ain't going to see anything from them yet because they just had Horizon. I'm trying to maybe Blue Point has another remake that they're going to throw out there. You know,
Naughty Dog could tease the supposed RPG that they're making. Because they're supposedly making something that is not The Last of Us, that is an RPG. There's been smoke that it's high fantasy RPG, and people are wondering if that's their answer to Elder Scrolls, that they're going to try an open world RPG.
Crazy.
Like, that'd be interesting.
That's why it's but people will say, well, like this is one of the reasons why it's good that Xbox gets these studios too, because it forces Sony to try and make different stuff, right?
Correct, sir. We got to have a first-person shooter in there. We got to have a shooter somewhere.
They're gonna have a shooter. Bungie's next game.
Yeah, I think so. That's the one.
Maybe. I mean, that was their big acquisition. That's the biggest acquisition they made. You know, a lot of people are looking forward to what Bungie releases next, and that will shatter the internet when Bungie reveals their new game.
Yeah.
Right. No matter what. So they want to make strides. They want to make a big splash. Show Bungie.
Yeah, Matter, Oscar. Right.
Yeah, Matter. That's the code name for it. I don't know if we have a real name for it yet. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, House Marquee. Jay's Wade brought up House Marquee. I'd like to see what they're working on next too. Yeah, for sure.
There's so many things that to look forward to, but
they got a lot of studios too.
Yeah. I want to see what they are right now. Like we don't know. Yeah. I want to know. I have an idea of when to expect some of them. You know, I don't want to see any more remaster, remake, director's cuts. No more. Right.
But we know
no more. If they come out with some more of that shit, I'm gonna be like so like if they fill their show up with that crap.
God of War Ragnarok for PS5 only. Come on, it's got to happen.
We'll see a PC announcement of some stuff probably as well.
The Konami announcements will be there.
Yeah, it could have this. I have a feeling like where we are with this generation, like this is going to try and be like PlayStation's home run swing.
Yeah, this is 20. When did they do the Hopes and Dreams? 2016 was it?
Yeah.
For PS4 when they had nothing. Remember they were down.
Yeah.
Again, it was just because Xbox was doing what they were doing. They didn't have much. PlayStation didn't. They announced. I think it was 2016 was the Hopes and Dreams because 2018 is when everything started hitting for them.
Yeah.
So
as far as the console market, I feel like they got their they got Xbox pinned down right now, and I feel like they're gonna kind of come out swinging to try and like finish the fight, you know, whatever way like they can, and come out swinging as big as they can to like just make everybody go, holy shit! The one show they had, they gave everybody like every game they could was on their wish list, like. Even they brought out the Shenmue guy on stage. And it was like, and I was like, what's going on right now? Right. It's like they just went to like the forums and just like took the most talked about topics, right? So I think they're gonna go. I think they're gonna go big. I hope they do.
Go for the jugular.
Yeah, and I want them to. Right. Yeah. That's when the industry is the best. Right. That's when 100%. Everything's the most exciting. Is when these companies come out there and they try so hard to like impress the fan bases by these big games and exciting moments, right? And if PlayStation does that, I'm going to be super, super happy. But I got to tell you, if they do, they're, rumor are now, I guess, about 2 weeks ahead of the Xbox show. Xbox got to bring it, man. They gotta bring it, especially knowing PlayStation's ahead of them now. They gotta bring it this year. Don't put the handcuffs on yourself, with any like stupid was it 12-month showcase thing,
right?
Nothing like that. Just like go out there and like hit home runs for Xbox too. And it's going to be an exciting time, man, because where we are in this generation right now, with we know all the studios have been working on these things for so long and all this stuff. I think this year is going to be the year where our minds are just fucking blown from all of the games that get announced across this showcase season. I'm hoping for it, man.
So am I. And I know we got a super chat from Alvin in there. I'll get to it right now, actually. Alvin being more messy. Insomniac refreshes the same game on the same map 3 times from the same bones. Media, oh my god, Insomniac's output is unmatched. Fuck out of here. LOL. Talk your shit, Alvin. Yeah. Like WBG said.
Yeah, that's why I got to see how Spider-Man 2 is extremely different. You know what I mean? They're going to focus on Venom and really sell the Venom thing. Venom, yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, cool. But like, I'm still going to be swinging around as one of the 2 Spider-Man, and I got to see how my gameplay is going to be. Not the same exact experience as it was the last 2 times.
Yep. Nope. And Eastside Vandal, I think he brought up too, this week too, David Jaffe got in a little hot, well, not really hot water, but he had to come make an explanation video because his name was written up in articles because he said that he had a conversation with a journalist that he's known for a long time. And she told him that the Bloodborne remake is happening. If that's happening, that'll be there.
That'll be a big deal.
It'll be a big deal.
Yeah. To a lot of Souls fans, it's like the best Souls game period.
Yes, 100%. And Jaffe had to come out and say, I didn't say I know. I didn't say, because people were writing it up that Jaffe confirmed and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, Eastside Vandal, that's going to be a big one. Sony, I think, is coming with the big guns. I think this is all out now. The other part of this, Mav, is we've been in such a lull for a year and a half ever since ABK was announced, industry-wide seemingly, with games coming out unfinished. A lot of problems. Yes, we've had some gems in there that have been absolutely spectacular, 100%. But both Sony and Xbox have seemingly turtled this entire time, trying to play the weakest, trying to be the weakest player to these regulatory bodies. And we just really have had this big lull that's lasted for a long time. And if they both come out firing this year, and again, Nintendo's already fired their shot. They got Zelda. If they've got new hardware, we will be hearing about that at some point as well. I think the Tokyo Game Show is potential where we hear the new hardware from Nintendo, which would be gigantic as well. But if they both come out firing, man, that'll be fun. Man, we're going to have a lot to talk about in the coming weeks about what's coming out, what each studio's got, what we saw from the Xbox showcase, especially if we finally get to see like an Exiles game, Compulsions game, all these games that we know are being worked on. If they bring Fable, and we actually get to see a slice of gameplay from Fable, what Playground's been doing. These are heavy hitters, and these are unknowns. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see the back and forth between these two again. So I hope this happens. I hope Grubb's right, and I hope we do get it this month. And they do come with all of it. And we see, again, will I be disappointed in some of the third-party deals? I'm sure I'm probably going to be disappointed in some of the third-party deals that it's not coming to Xbox. But that's the name of the game. And I've resigned myself to the fact as somebody who has decided that he's not going to own a PS5 this generation just because of how they've done things. That it is what it is. Maybe by the end of the generation they'll have enough on the plate and they'll show me enough, and Xbox, will have the same thing going that I'll eventually get a PlayStation. But right now there's nothing outside of Final Fantasy 16 that's got me excited. I'd like to see something that would irk me a little bit more in a weird way. I'd like something from Sony where I go, okay, you guys are starting to come back now. Okay, now you guys see Xbox is playing. Now you guys are going back to the drawing board. Oh, you're bringing back Twisted Metal. Oh, you're bringing back SOCOM. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now we're talking, right? Now we're getting back to the Sony of old. We'll see, but I am curious to see what they're going to do here.
We're going to see 10 live service games.
Which they do have to show those as well.
Yep.
All the live service games have to be shown at some point for sure, 100%. Man, let's get a little fun here, man. Let's get a little fun. This this came out, and if there's anything you want me to bring up, let me know if you want to go in a certain direction here. But this came out last night, man. And listen, you know me and Mav are all about the Starfield. You know me and Mav are all about the God Howard and what game is going to be. I know Sloth put out a little tweet last night. And of course, take this with a grain of salt. We are in speculation town here. However, we will say that there is some smoke behind the scenes that potentially this is credible. Let's put it that way. I put out a rumor last night that id Software has been working closely with Bethesda on Starfield, on the gun mechanics since last August, man. And that the combat is vastly better state than it was during the Xbox showcase last year. This rumor came from 4chan. Huge grain of salt. Said, will say, smoke behind the scenes, that this thing is probably legit. Okay? That they've gotten lots of help. That when Phil said in his interview that they flooded Bethesda and he was kind of talking like engineer side of things, that it wasn't only engineers that were working on Starfield to make sure that this game is in the best possible state after the delay. This all kind of lines up too, Mav, with the delay, right? If this truly is what happened in August, then obviously when we know that Xbox went out to Bethesda and right after that they announced the delay, that this would all make sense. That maybe, unlike Redfall, Phil and the team went out there, sat down with Todd, looked at the game, asked Todd, what can be better? Where are you behind on? Todd gave him a list, or Phil and the rest of the team pointed out some places where they thought work could be done and said, what do you need? And Todd said, well, I'm going to need more time. They delayed it, and then they sent teams in. Engineers were there early on, according to Phil, so I won't say engineers, but maybe they called up some other studios for some help to fix some things. What do you think about this, Mav? Does it get you more excited for Starfield? What?
I couldn't be any more excited for Starfield, to be honest with you. Like I see this and I'm like, cool, I'm gonna like it, like, period. Yeah, I just have that confidence in Todd Howard's games because those games aren't really about the gunplay for me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like Fallout has guns. You know, I don't play those games for the best gunplay ever. However, having good gunplay does help. You know, does it make me think the game could be even slightly better than it would have been otherwise? Potentially.
And this, unlike Fallout, map does not have that system. That system helped Fallout dramatically.
Yeah, and
you could go into that mode anytime, right?
In the back of my mind,
definitely going to be,
Redfall had similar comments about it, right? And like, if the game's good, it's going to help it. If the game's bad, it's just going to make a slightly bad game a little bit better. Like, here's the thing. Like, Redfall, some people like the gunplay, some people don't. Some people think it feels off. They change the settings on it, and they say it feels better. PC, supposedly better gunplay than on controller. But ultimately, that's not the biggest complaint people have about that. But there was a lot of talk about id's help on Redfall, right, with the gunplay scenario. So how much did they help? I don't know. Regardless, though, does it matter to me with Starfield? To be honest with you, not really. I think that id is a masters of what they do. And it's the coolest thing for me is just hearing that studios helping one another, regardless, you know. But Starfield, I thought the combat looked cool last time, and I was like, cool, that looks fun to me. Looks like what I expect out of a Bethesda game. And I was pretty damn pumped for it. So when it comes out, I'm not going to give a shit who worked on it. Besides Todd Howard and Bethesda Game Studios, I'm going to love the experience, I'm sure, and have a blast playing it ultimately. And I care more about, like, what Phil said about the teams that were there early on in early production with them helping out, because that almost sounds like pre-acquisition.
Maybe, yes.
Because, I mean, they were maybe already trying to, you know, make sure that they know how big those games are for Xbox, right?
They've worked hand in hand on other games in the past.
Yeah.
Again,
so it wouldn't be like the first time they've done that. Yeah, exactly. So That could be an ongoing working relationship thing that they have with Bethesda for some of their big RPGs. You know, like it's almost an expectation now. I'm not sure how they work with that, but the most important thing was the confidence that Phil exuded with the fact that Bethesda had help early on with Starfield from Xbox, right? With the teams that are going to maybe help the most with optimization and that kind of stuff, right? So that's the
100%.
key here for me. The most important aspect, gunplay, cool. I don't play Bethesda RPGs to be Doom or Halo,
No.
you know.
No.
So just my take.
Yeah, no. It's just it's got to be just decent, and I'm okay
Yeah.
with it. Now, if it came in and made it good, well, then that's just an addition to what Starfield and what Bethesda RPGs already do well, right? And so, if the
Yeah.
gunplay is even better than in previous Bethesda titles, then that's just a cherry on top
Yeah.
of everything else. Again, like you, Mav, the thing that excites me is the teams helping other teams. We know Coalition has been helping everybody under the sun over at Xbox in a multitude of ways. And that is something that we talked about long ago with these acquisitions is one, what we could see out of that with the teams helping each other and lending their extreme talents or the things that they're masters in to other teams that might be a weakness, and you shore up that weakness with this. And again, this isn't anything new in the industry. Again, over what was it, 2,000 people worked on The Last of Us 2 over at Sony. They brought in people from the outside to
Yeah.
work on that game, right? So this is nothing new, but the fact that Microsoft has so much in-house talent now, and that they can go to somebody like an id Software and say, hey, Todd over there, he's working on Starfield. The gunplay is feeling a little soft. Could you take a look at it and see what they can do with it? And the other thing is if the timeline is true, man, and this has been since last August, then that's extra. Like, that's not like just coming in and consulting and saying, hey, you can make a couple quick changes here and there, and that'll just make it feel this a little bit better. That means that it probably had time to kind of really look at it and kind of get down and dirty with it and say, okay, here's what we can do. Here's what you should do. This is what's going to change. And I think that time frame with the delay definitely makes a lot of sense. And that definitely gives me high hopes. Like you, the most important thing is the engineers being there early on, according to Phil, making sure that Starfield is taking advantage of all the power, of all the tools within the Series X and Series S to make sure that Starfield comes out in the best light possible. That's the most important part to me. And again, my hopes are up after Phil's interview that we will get a performance mode out the gate. I'm not going to hold my breath. I won't bet money on it. But what I will say is my hopes are up that we will see it because of that statement. And that alone makes me feel better. Again, I will play it no matter what. Doesn't matter to me. It's Bethesda. It's Starfield. It's Todd Howard. I'm going to play it. I'll be there day one.
Yeah.
But this is pretty exciting. We also did get the rating too, Matt. We didn't get to talk about this last week.
M for mature.
Some people were questioning. I didn't know some people were questioning this, but there was some people questioning this supposedly out there. Whether or not they would go for the M rating or whether or not they would try to get the teen rating to get more of a bigger audience, which again in video games
that really
never has really made a big difference. The last time I heard parents having a problem with things was the Mortal Kombat days, again, all the way back.
How many copies does GTA sell?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
It's like,
right.
Come on.
It's so, but we did. And of course, all the horny dogs out there, I see you all. You guys were all excited as soon as they said, oh, there's going to be some after sex talk. So, of course, everybody said, oh, sex confirmed for Starfield. So, all you horny dogs, congratulations. It seems like there's going to be at least some type of fooling around in Starfield. I don't know if you can get 0G sex, as some people said, but we'll see. We'll see. They also said that there is going to be they did clarify that the main character's occupation is a miner, supposedly. Yes, like mining. So we will see about that. They did say that there is going to be blood splatter. I wanted Fallout Dismemberment. I don't know how they grade it. If blood splatter says that there could be limbs flying, I know they're trying to keep it more realistic, but if you blow somebody up with a grenade, chances are you might see some limbs flying. So I was hoping to see some Fallout action in there. If not a big deal. I'm glad that they did clarify there was blood, because in the trailer there wasn't any, and some people were like, oh no, oh, did they sterilize this? Are we going away from that? So that is good news as well. the weird and drug use. Psychonauts
Yeah.
is in the chat. I got to bring that up. Drug use is rampant in this game. Okay, it's rampant. Psychedelics from the fish in that one fish town. I always forget the name of it. The fish city. Supposedly they have a fish in that ocean that provides a toxin which they've turned into a psychedelic drug, and it's rampant. So that is also part of it. But the one thing that I'm glad this didn't take off, Mav, but it tried.
The
there was articles
microtransaction
written.
thing.
Yeah. In-game purchase. Again, how are you professional journalists and you don't understand these concepts? So for anybody who doesn't know, with the ratings, it came out that there's in-game purchase features. This is something that is tagged on every single freaking game if it has DLC, if it has anything attached to it.
And these are going to have purchasable mods from the community as well.
Because of the creation.
Yeah.
Right. Because
it's just like it's
people ran.
Double standard. Again, this is
Dreamcast
somebody pointed
gaming,
out. It even says this on some of these PlayStation games, and
yes, it's
you know
on
what
Ratchet
I mean?
and
Like,
Clank.
even single player games.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank has it.
Try and make a big deal about everything regarding Xbox. We see you.
If you want to talk about Bethesda specifically, every single one of their go look at all their games.
Yeah.
Skyrim says it, of course, because again, they've got the mod system, and everybody just dismissed that like, oh no, they're gonna try to get us with some MTX in this. But you guys get the hell out of here. You guys are looking for any reason to write this bullshit, to talk about this bullshit about Xbox's biggest first-party game coming out this year. Knock it off.
Did you see the Game Rant article talking about like one person's bug or something or experience they had with their Series S?
I saw that.
So we've gone down to the path now with gaming journalism where individual tech issues from an individual with a piece of technology is a story. So if I have trouble booting up a PS5 or a PC or whatever, I expect somebody to write an article about it. I'm just saying
there should be an article.
Hey, if I got to post something every time there's an issue with any piece of hardware I have, because guess what? There should be an article about it, because guess what? It's a story that I had a tech issue. What a dumb, I mean, that is like the most ignorant, stupid piece of crap site to be able to put out. Like, you know how many articles you'd have to write daily about tech issues in technology? If every electronic device you wrote stuff about individual tech issues, you would be like there like all day. You have millions. I mean, you fucking couldn't even keep up. You got to have Chat GPT, like, hey, find tech issues and make articles. like what is this nonsense?
That's probably all they're doing now, anyways.
That's true. It does read
Game
like
Rant for sure. Did you see the other one about Starfield specifically that they put out this week?
One?
Oh, they're on a roll, bro. Starfield is their bread and butter right now.
Yeah,
and they make the most ridiculous articles. Again, this is the same site that said that Starfield needs to justify itself, and that's going to get lost in the shuffle because of games like No Man's Sky. Okay, just give everybody some context. They wrote an article this week, Mav, that said that I don't even know how to say this. That Starfield's reality-based graphics will prevent it from having a character creation system like Saints Row. That was an actual article. And they were bummed that Starfield wasn't going to have a character creation system like Saints Row. You can't make it up. I couldn't think of that headline and that article if I tried. Like when I saw it, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I actually read it because I had to see how ridiculous. And it was as ridiculous as you think it would. They were legitimately saying this was a negative against Starfield because they went with the reality-based graphics. And it wouldn't allow them to have the same type of character creation that Saints Row does. Saints freaking Row. Okay. This is journalism these days, folks. This is journalism. Mav, you got anywhere you want to go here, man?
Games journalism is so bad now. I mean, it's all journalism is horrible. I mean, really, it's not just gaming, it's across the board. I saw Nick said he said that, it's important for the livelihood of the journalist.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I could go out there and be a douchebag in my life and try and fuck over people and scam them as for my livelihood. You know what I mean? There's an integrity and values matter in this world still, right? And it goes beyond games media. It goes into political media, all aspect media, integrity, and personal, like, trust of what your word says you mean, and there's actual information behind it, and not just spewing things for self-gain. That's a huge problem, and I'm going to keep pointing it out with games journalism. You know, maybe on my Sunday streams, I'll start targeting individual posts and stuff like that. But like, it's a big problem, and like, this is a gaming show, so we relegate it to gaming, but it goes beyond that. But gaming wise, it messes with people's minds, and it hurts our hobby.
Yep.
It hurts the developers. It hurts the creators of these games. It hurts the gamers. It really does. And putting misinformation and twisting narratives around for the sake of personal gain is fuck them. They're douchebags.
100%.
Their website should be banned.
Oh shit. We have GTA 6. It's being reported.
Kick them off the World Wide Web.
Yeah, just nix them completely. Yeah, just completely, 100%.
Just CIA show up to Game Rant's offices. You're closed. I'm kidding.
I just wish they would. I would just wish they would change themselves. But
it's the world we live in these days.
I've watched the downfall of Kotaku.
Oh God.
Firsthand.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable to watch something go up in flames like that.
We got to keep the lights on, so let's just put out some bullshit, okay, everybody? We're making a huge change here. You know, we're going the National Enquirer route.
We used to be a good site at one point. We used to actually give good information and write good articles, and we just decided to throw that all away. Oh, Jesus Christ. And Luke Plunkett. Oh, my God. Don't even get me started on that, man.
Oh, yeah.
GTA 6, Mav. It's being... Again, take this with a grain of salt. We do know that AAA costs are going through the roof. We do know that the bigger the games get, the longer they take, the more money invested. And you can't get any bigger than Grand Theft Auto. You simply can't. There's nothing else that touches it. It's unbelievable. But it is being reported, Matt, that this is potentially the most expensive game in history. And they have estimated that this is costing Take-Two between $1 billion and $2 billion to make GTA 6. Of course, this includes the assumed marketing costs, which are going to be ridiculous. We know that GTA 6, when the ramp up starts to happen and marketing starts to happen after announcement, it's going to be outrageous. But $1 to $2 billion, man. $1 billion
with
for one game. With a B. For one game. How, like, of course they're going to make their money back. Of course. This is stupid at this point to even say this. But, my God, Mav, what is this game going to be? Is it going to be NFT laden? Are they going to come out and say we are selling live property within GTA 6 and you can own it with your own NFT? Like Fuzzy has suggested in the past. What, $1 to $2 billion, man? Is this going to be the greatest game of all time? What do you think?
It better be. $1 billion. Yeah, the crazy thing is they're going to easily make that.
This is Avatar dollars.
Yeah.
On a game.
They're going to easily make that. I mean, I'm curious how much they've made on. They're going to fund that in the next year of GTA 5 online, probably. Fine. Yeah, I mean, like, it's a drop in the bucket. It's just a drop in the bucket, you know? $1 billion for this game, easy. I think that it's going to be huge, and it'll be another generational seller. It's got to come out at some point. You know, I want to know when it's dropping, and I don't care how much it costs. Make it good, make it great. I'm wondering where that money goes to, though. That's the main thing. Like, I wonder, like, if I got $1 billion budget to make the biggest game of all time, where do you funnel that into? Do you get $750 million of marketing and $250 million of development.
Right.
And even
we know
250
movies now are what, 50-50, right?
Yeah.
So if it's a $500 million movie, they spend $500 million in marketing, basically, is what it is now.
And this, the marketing is going to be crazy. In
GTA that's what I said.
Yeah. So like, curious how that split it. But even if you take only a quarter of that and say $250 million for development, that's crazy in itself, right? So that being said, probably how many years does that get divided up over as well of development? Because they've been working at this thing probably for a while. So it's interesting, man. I'm hoping that they really push technology forward with this game. They usually do with GTA games. And it sounds like that's probably what's going to happen with this one, because that's what that kind of money is probably being invested in, I would think. I remember a couple of years back, we had news of this new AI cloud-based technology that 2K had been working on. And Rockstar was probably going to benefit from it regarding like the AI, the NPCs and everybody acting like a real world, like the traffic, everything like that. People like kind of have a mind of their own and stuff. So I'm really curious if a lot of that advancement is in the technology base behind the game, right? Acquiring things or developing technologies and stuff to help really make this stand out, because it can't just be slightly better than GTA 5. And like GTA 5 now still, if you play the last update on it, the latest update on next gen hardware, it still looks great. The game still plays great. It holds up right now really well. It's that plays and looks better than a lot of current gen games that drop. I mean, it honestly does. And you're talking about a game that originally came out in the 360 PS3 era, right? So it's not just easy task to say, hey, do better than that. But you can't just do better than it. You got to do a lot better than it. It's got to have a good story. You got to have great online. You got to have great graphics. You got to have smooth gameplay. All of this stuff, man. So I understand. Probably part of the reason is the amount of pressure they're going to have on them to make this game good.
Absolutely.
Right? It's a different level here, because you're talking about making a game when there's still a huge thriving community that's been playing your game for 10 years now or whatever,
Right.
And you got to supplant that and make them jump ship to your other game,
Right. Yeah, I think the pressure is going to be on their online and what they do with it, how they move it forward. We've heard different rumors of that in the past, how they make that transfer over, how they do migrate those people, what they're going to do to entice people to move. It's going to be interesting, because that's where the real pressure is, because that's the moneymaker, and that's where the investors are concerned about. They already know the single player game is going to sell like crazy, and it will make back whatever money that 2K puts into it easily. But at the end of the day, it's that online. It's just like Warzone for Call of Duty. It's that's what brings in the dollars, right? And that's what you got to worry about and keep up. And how do you raise the bar off of something that is beloved by so many people that pump so much money into it? Like, that's always going to be the highest pressure from Maya's standpoint. If the map that's been floating around there is any close to reality, and they're setting this back in Vice City type area, Florida type area, that map that's been floating around out there, again, take it with a grain of salt. It looks legit, and if it is legit, it's going to be massive. The map looks so freaking, oh my god. I don't even know what to say. But $1 to $2 billion is on a whole nother level. It will set the bar yet again. And there's only so many companies that can take this risk, man. There's only so many. And that's the scary part. And that's what we've seen. Again, we've seen $70 games. We've seen games get bigger. We've seen devs push themselves further and further. And there's got to be a tipping point, as we've seen games come out not performing the best. Shortcuts being taken to get them out the door. Like, it's great for us gamers that they're pushing the bar forward, but at some point these risks are going to start, killing off dev teams and killing off. I mean, we saw Saints Row and what happened to that, and it had nowhere near this budget. And it's just, the AAA market is one of those. It's a lot like gambling, man. You're gonna have your wins, but those losses could add up, and it really wipes out any win that you had eventually or originally. So that's what I'm scared about. And I'm glad that Take-Two, I mean, if this is true or anywhere near it, I can't wait to see where this money went. And I hope it's groundbreaking, and I hope it's ridiculous, and I hope I go, oh my God, they just did it again. Here we go. Another Grand Theft Auto for another 10 years. Let's go.
What do you think that means for the budget of their other games, though? That's the one thing I question.
Sacrifice.
Like,
yes. Well, that's what
putting this much into one game is great if you can still have everything else you want to do with all your other games. Like Red Dead, like, I would much rather, to be honest, I'd rather there be a Red Dead Redemption 3 or at least an update to Red Dead Redemption 2 to put it at 60 frames or something like that.
Right.
Over GTA, even personally, just for my taste, right? But like, we have no word of any of that. You know, that there's a lack of word of any other games from Rockstar.
We know they've canceled a couple games.
Yep. There's budget,
rumors of a Mafia, new Mafia game. There's rumors of a Midnight Club, right? There's rumors out there, but man, you and I come back from the old Rockstar days where they were pumping out games, right? Where they were doing crazy.
They had that other game like Agent that was supposed to come out that they moved on from.
Yes.
I feel like if we didn't have the success with GTA 5, they probably would have eventually maybe even tried their hand at that game. Red Dead's the big one for me because like it's by every metric, it's a success. Unless they're comparing it to GTA 5
and the online.
Because they haven't put anything into the online really compared to
they
GTA.
abandoned it. They abandoned it. Yeah, 100%.
So it's weird to have this much invested from a company in like one franchise. Like in Activision is kind of like that with Call of Duty. Rockstar is part of 2K, has kind of became that for GTA, which it used to be more games. I remember we had Rockstar Table Tennis, you had Midnight Clubs, you had Bully, you had GTAs, and you had Red Dead Redemption. They had multiple different franchises that they were pushing, and GTA was always the biggest, right? But it reached this unsurmountable plateau that's focused. Well, this is our moneymaker. This is where we're gonna focus on. This is keep working on this stuff, and to me, that's great and all. But I miss the creativity side of coming out with these other games too. So that's the one detriment to such a large budget for a franchise. Like, I hope that we still get to see more from Rockstar in the future besides just Grand Theft Auto.
Yep. So do I.
Because I miss them, man. I really do.
I do. I want them to get back. I hope we do get a new Midnight Club because there is a lot of potential. But again, I'd like to see Red Dead come back again, and I'd like to see them update Red Dead 2. I can't believe they haven't updated Red Dead 2. It's one of the most disappointing ones. With all this money, with all the success, why not spend a little money and do it? And we see, again, for all the problems Ubisoft has, we've talked about Ubisoft and gone on plenty of Ubisoft rants. At least they update their games. They even go back and surprise us with updates to games that
they just did Far Cry 6 or Far Cry 5. I mean,
Far Cry 5, yeah. So that's the cool part. I'd like to see Rockstar kind of, again, they're so successful, and who am I to tell them how to run their business? But man, come on, treat your big games the right way. Update them. Give us the 60 frames. I'm not expecting the world here. Speaking of Take-Two, we'll stay there though, Matt. Private Division. We were just talking about, having other games come out. Part of Take-Two is their indies that they do partner with. They partner with third parties. They've got Private Division. We just got word this week that they're partnering with Game Freak. For anybody who doesn't know who Game Freak is, well, that's Pokemon.
Yeah.
Everybody associates Pokemon and just thinks Nintendo, but it's not Nintendo. Game Freak. So they are partnering with Game Freak on a brand new IP codenamed Project Bloom. And they put out one piece of concept art. Take it for what it is.
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool, but just out of the blue, Game Freak's doing something different in Pokemon, which is crazy. So pretty cool. Take-Two is investing elsewhere in third-party stuff too. So that's awesome. Mav, you got any topics you want to hit? Because we got a bunch of little stuff.
Mortal Kombat.
I guess that's kind of big.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's kind of big. So, Mortal Kombat.
Big.
It is. Ed Boon, obviously, celebrating the 30th anniversary. Last week we talked about this, put out the small, like people called it a teaser, and I was like, that's like the grandest or the most general broad-based definition of a teaser I've ever seen, but whatever. You want to call it as a teaser, fine. He put out a happy 30th anniversary to Mortal Kombat video, thanking the fans, obviously, and all that good stuff. And then they showed what appeared to be a grain of sand, a grain of the world kind of falling and exploding into dust. Kind of people thought it was automatically Mortal Kombat 12 because obviously the in Mortal Kombat 11 there was the time factor involved in there, all that kind of stuff, sands of time, etc. And they were starting the world over again. So everybody was doing this. Well, then they put out another one, an actual teaser this week, right, Mav? And it had a clock that was set. The big hand at 9 or the small hand at 9, and then the other hand was at midnight. But they were showing the second hand.
Yeah.
And the second hand was going around, and it got to 11, right? Mortal Kombat 11 for everybody following along at home.
Yeah.
So it got to 11, and then it sat there, and it fluttered, and all of a sudden, it
jumped
super fast.
Jumped to
1, skipped over 12. People picked up on that right away. And then we got word that some details have leaked. Now, before I read the details, I got to give you Ed Boon's tweet today because of Ed Boon in classic trolling fashion. Ed Boon is just, he's awesome. He's just such a good dude. He came out on Twitter today and said, for the record, we never confirmed, and confirmed is with a K, folks, in Mortal Kombat fashion. We never confirmed our next game is a Mortal Kombat game. Classic Ed Boon. But we had the leaks come out prior to Boon's Twitter post, which is what it was in relation to, obviously. The leaks are the next Mortal Kombat game is a reboot. And supposedly they are calling it Mortal Kombat 1 again. Targeting for September launch. Again, we already knew this because their investor call leaked that we were getting Mortal Kombat this year.
Yeah.
So stupid. Targeting a September launch. Reveal is imminent in the next few weeks. Mav, does that mean my dream of it showing up on the Xbox stage is out the window? Because few weeks would not get us to June, but it would get us to the PlayStation showcase. But there's no way PlayStation has Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat
and Tekken
marketing rights and Tekken as marketing rights. Really?
I will say this: if PlayStation gets the trifecta of marketing rights between Street Fighter, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat, that's on Xbox for not locking one of those down.
Agreed.
Right? Like, come on. You know what I mean? I understand. PlayStation's trying to do this, and the publishers understand how much big the platform is and all that kind of stuff, but like you gotta get one of the three, right? One of the three. This is just one of them, so there's rumors that PlayStation has the marketing rights on it. I hope that our guesses were right, Pong, that Xbox would get this one because they have a relationship with WB pretty good, and that if they were to get one of the three, it would make more sense to get Mortal Kombat anyway because of their history as well. And I hope it shows up. This was one of my guesses that Mortal Kombat would show up at the Xbox showcase. But regardless, like, it's interesting because Ed's always kind of put the thing that they are working on 2 different games, right?
It might even be 3.
Yeah.
Some of his comments. Yeah.
So there's it's just interesting energy when he puts something out there still, even though he's like trolling, about I never said that it was our next game, like it's just funny. But I'm curious what else they have in the works still, Right. And my most exciting thing too with the potential reboot of Mortal Kombat, if some would call it that, would be to reset and get back to the roots of who the original characters are again.
Sure.
Like we've seen, this is great. We're all onto like all their kids and stuff now, and this huge grand storyline and going over decades, and that, hey, that's great and all, but like sometimes I would want it to go back to square one and have new takes on all the original characters.
Yeah.
In their prime, like Liu Kang, the original Liu Kang brought back to, go back to that and just expand upon it, maybe some new ones, and start fresh from there, because that sets you up really well for the next several games. You know what I mean? So storylines, like Mortal Kombat's been amazing the last several games now, like better than the rest, in my opinion, when it comes to developing a game that's worth playing for more than just the fighting combat, right? And the versus mode and stuff like that. So it's my most hyped fighting game, right?
Yeah.
And besides that, I'm still looking forward to the other two. It's gonna be, man, what a GOAT year for fighting games.
Just need Soul Calibur to show up now. We're good.
Yeah. Oh my God, if they had a Soul, if they surprise us with a Soul Calibur this year at all,
yes,
that'd be like, it's already like the holy trinity of fighting games this year. But if you add that in there too, you got like my top 4 franchises of fighting games, all releasing with new ones in the same year. Bandai Namco, make it happen. Whatever you got to do.
Yes. Right. And it's possible Bandai's on a high right now. Who knows? They might have been working on it. Also, some more. And again, Steele kind of went back and forth with me on this in the DMs a little bit. When it was not, he thought it was weird that they're going to go reboot it after the ending of Mortal Kombat 11. Spoiler alert to anybody who has not played the ending of Mortal Kombat 11. If you care, mute us now. Come back in about 30 seconds. It did set up still, in my opinion, as a restart to the entire world, right? For Mortal Kombat 11, the way that 11 ended. Mm-hmm. It's a restart, right? Creating the brand new world all over again, right? And so it is possible to actually reboot it and call it number 1 again. And like you said, Mav, you had the perfect way of doing it, restarting the lines fresh with the original characters all over again, but with new, fresh visions of them, right? It'd be kind of interesting if they did that. So no, I agree wholeheartedly. All right. Also, part of that leak was Peacemaker, DC Universe, and Homelander. The boys are potential characters.
Fucking perfect for a Mortal Kombat game. Like, if you've seen
DC Universe, like, cool. I like the DC Universe characters coming into Mortal Kombat. The rest of it, I could care less because I don't care about the boys or Homelander. But I do get it.
Just because of the characters that they play, especially like with John Cena as the Peacemaker on the show, and also with Homelander, they would just fit right in. I could imagine the quips that they could have them say, like like the different funny. It'd be funny as hell. It would be over the top. They could have goriest stuff in there as well. It would be perfect. And I love if they went down that route of having like these different random, like over the top comic book style characters, as part of the game for characters. That's a great idea. Yeah. So I hope so.
They've always done a great job with the DLC.
Yeah.
So there's no question about it. So, I mean, again, Mortal Kombat, Ed Boon, I trust. Whatever he's going to do with this game, I do trust. But it'll be interesting to say the least. Coming to Xbox Series, PS5, PC, and Switch. So I'm assuming through the cloud, but streaming, we'll see how they're going to pull that off. But no mention of last gen PlayStation or Xbox. So that's definitely good news. So, yeah. Again,
it is weird that it would be playable on a Switch, and I guess it'd be on the cloud.
Yeah, that's why I said streaming. I'm assuming.
Right.
It's got to be. There's no way.
How is Mortal Kombat 11's on there, right? Is it native?
Yeah. I don't think so. Somebody in the chat would have to tell me. I don't know, because I don't know. No, I don't keep up to date on the Switch stuff as much as I would normally. So, Call of Duty rumors today too, Mav. This was really odd to me, but whatever. This whole releasing a full version after saying you're not going to release a version is weird to me, unless it is, as Speculation Town has said, to complete the contract with Sony and be done with it once and for all, because of the whole kerfuffle with the ABK acquisition and how pissed off they are. They just said, F it, we're going to make another game this year. We're going to force it out, and that to complete the contract with Sony faster. But supposedly, and again, this came from Hasdor today, so take it with a grain of salt, but Modern Warfare 3 is what they're going with, and it's going to come out November 10th.
For this year.
For this year.
Modern Warfare 3 for this year.
Yes. Yes.
Who was developing it? Sledgehammer? Fuck no. 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 Really?
Yes. That was a rumor today.
No. I didn't see this.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Yes.
They can't. Sledgehammer can't. They can't be the lead studio for Modern Warfare 3.
Well, it's all hands on deck, obviously.
Yeah.
If they turn full-fledged DLC for 2 into 3. Also, I did see that the rumor is that it's going to launch with zombies as well.
Okay, like a whole new story, like expanding the story, or just
yeah, because this was supposed to be the story expansion for 2, and they're turning it into Modern Warfare 3 and launching it with zombies.
I mean, I just hope Infinity Ward developed the story part.
Right. I mean, obviously, it's all hands on deck.
I agree. Like you see, like even after Modern Warfare 2, you see like 30 different studio icons show up.
Right.
You know, like
to make this happen this way after saying you're not making a full-fledged game this year, yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, I just, I thought that there was rumors before that Sledgehammer's next game was Advanced Warfare or whatever. Then a new Advanced Warfare potentially or something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's next year,
right.
And like this was planned content from the
correct
for Modern Warfare, and they just decided to get it out of the way and do a 3 using that. I guess that's fine. It's just, I don't. It's too soon.
It is.
Like I don't want that.
Right.
I don't like it. I don't want that yet. I want them to take their time and like really make Modern Warfare 3 this huge spectacle of amazing stuff and with like amazingness. Maybe it'll still be that. I don't know. It's crazy if it is, but like it's just no. Like we're still playing Modern Warfare 2 is still a thing. Like come on, just like give us something else until you take 3 years to make this.
Correct. It just it's really weird. It's weird to me how this is all going down. And the only thing that makes sense is that they are literally doing this to get out of this contract with Sony faster, which to me makes sense. But you're sacrificing.
Yeah, you're sacrificing the potential biggest release they've ever had for Call of Duty, like for it, like stupid.
Right.
I don't.
Right. I just.
Okay.
Anyways, so yeah, that was the rumor today.
Yeah, it's a rumor. It's a rumor.
It's a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt.
Rumor.
Take it all with a salt. But yeah, if it turns out to be true,
I gotta have a truck of salt for that one, man. Like if Modern Warfare 3 is announced for this year, I won't be, but I will be a little disappointed.
Yeah. So will I. ROG Ally Mav got announced today officially. Yeah. We've had all the smoke. We've had all the rumors. All the leaks turned out to be true. Mav, but they had finally their show. They announced it officially with price points. They pre-orders went live. Best Buy in America is where you want to go. Microsoft, Xbox representing today. Yeah. They are deep in partnership with ROG on this handheld. This is your Xbox handheld basically at this point. This is your
running Windows on it. It's
running
powerful.
Windows 11. Yeah, it comes, if you get it through Best Buy, it comes with 3 months, or if you get it anywhere, I think, but it comes with 3 months of Xbox Ultimate, Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah.
3 months free with it. The price points were right, $599 for the lesser version. For the Z1 Extreme, $699. I've seen the battles already starting out there because of the battery life. Up to 2 hours, in game playing games, and people are saying in real life, there's been some people who obviously have the test units in their hands. They've been playing with it. Whatever else, we've seen a lot of that. People are saying no way. If you're playing AAA games, you're not getting 2 hours. And so I've seen the battle. Some people saying nope, keep it my Steam Deck. Forget this. I'll wait. All this kind of stuff. By the way, we have the console wars. When do we get the handheld wars going?
It's going to be interesting because there's like non-platform specific, right? Like,
but we need like the ROG. What would you say? Like the ROGettes versus the Steam Decks.
That's
something
Rockets
like
versus the Steam Decks. I love it.
So,
Yeah.
no, we got bots and ponies. We got to get like something going, like the Jolly Roggers versus the Steam Decks. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
We got to have some channels made. We got to have some toxicity for the handheld market. Let's go.
Yeah. That's I like that. The Rockets versus the Steam Decks. Let's go. We're gonna have like wars starting to form over that, man. I can see it now.
Yeah. Well, I've seen some people today going back and forth about it. Like, because of the battery life in this versus with the Steam Deck. And obviously there's some people who are really tech savvy, who love Linux, who love getting down and dirty, love all the ability. There's some features on the Steam Deck I've heard, like suspend mode, that aren't available on the Ally. So some people are pointing that stuff out. So there are pluses and minuses on both sides. But I got to say, man, for this price point, and for how easy this is seemingly set up with Windows 11, with your Game Pass library, with your Steam library, with your GOG library, with your Epic library, just all functioning out the gate right there, available to you. Like, this is a pretty cool little machine for somebody like me who's not tech savvy, right? So I think
I got an idea for you, Pong.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
Wait, where are you going with this?
Okay.
I think I do.
I got an idea for you. You need to invest in a become a Rocket, okay?
Become a Rocket.
All right, so you need to invest and get a ROG Ally or ROG Ally, however you say it.
Yep.
Get a dock for it, plug your Ethernet in, and all that stuff. You can podcast from that thing because it's Windows 11, buddy. It could become your handheld gaming PC, Game Pass, Xbox handheld / podcasting machine. You'll no longer have your Surface bulging at the seams.
Yeah.
Just a thought. It probably would work. I don't know. Like, you would have to get a little USB hub and stick your stuff in it and everything. You know what I mean?
Well, it does.
Just throwing it
you
out
know, the
there.
other cool part about the Ally is it does have the ability to hook up to the laptop. It's got the ability to hook up to the docks, which have the up to a 4090 laptop, obviously 4090. And it does turn into a full-fledged, PC gaming machine, right? So, but they want $2,000 for the 4090.
Oh, yeah.
1999, bro. Yeah.
Big says the 2.5 is not enough for this 3-hour plus podcast with Steel.
That's true.
But you can leave it plugged in. So like when I was playing on the Steam Deck, I played it in bed, and like people would say, "Oh, you got to make sure you play it at a lower settings, otherwise it's going to drain the battery." I said, "Fuck that! I'm going to jack the settings up to as high as I possibly can on the Steam Deck, and just leave it plugged in while I played, because that's how I played it." So the battery life for me would matter more if I traveled a lot. You know what I mean? Which I understand there's a big audience for people that do that. For me, it's not really a concern. The other question would be like, I think it's really underappreciated and overlooked for these kind of devices. How good is the Wi-Fi on it?
Yes.
Like, what is the rate? How good does it work? Is it going to receive signals well? Because you can have, like, I had my phone right in the same room, same area, where I'd hook up I'd put my Backbone, or back then it was a Kishi on the Android, and I would play my cloud games on my phone, right, for like remote streaming and stuff. And I had my Steam Deck all tricked out for the same things, but where I was located in the same spot in the house, I had a horrible experience because of the connection on the Steam Deck, but a great experience on my phone. In the same, both using Wi-Fi connected to the same network, right? So I think that aspects like that are important to how the quality that you get out of these kind of devices. The Switches sucks ass.
Yep.
The Switch is Wi-Fi. Some people may say you don't have a problem or whatever. It's the worst. I have parts of my house that you just couldn't use it, right? You can't download games. You can't connect to the network. You can't do all that stuff, right? You go to certain spots, it works, but like some devices pick up the signal better than others. So I think that's overlooked at times. I'm curious how the performance of that. I wish that was measured more with these devices and stuff. You can do stuff with your house to get around that and make sure you get workarounds. But everybody has certain spots in their house that has these like softer areas, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it just our bedroom and our bed happens to be one of those, and I got a mesh network and everything. It still doesn't
Right.
catch everywhere, right? So I think that power wise, it's amazing. People keep talking about the price point. It's good. In comparison, it's good. It's still expensive,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
So it's still an expensive device. So the fact that they were able to get it to that price point is a good thing. I'm impressed by the specs on it.
Yeah.
The best thing is you can download your games natively on it
Yep.
from Game Pass or from Xbox. I'm curious how the controller support works with a lot of the games, like picking up the functionality of detecting that you have a handheld controller on it,
Yep.
right? Because you're just running Windows 11. How good is that with the games to detect that? Which can be a problem with devices like this, right? So anytime you have to do a bunch of workarounds to get shit to work, I lose interest. Right. And I just hope for Xbox, with them focusing on this device kind of, that they try and make it as seamless as possible.
Yep.
I don't know if they have to do that on the back end with some kind of software updates between it and the Ally or what, but it's impressive, man. And it's on my radar. I want to get one. I'm going to wait and see how everybody loves it once it's out. And then once I get the extra budget in there, eventually I'll probably cave and get one if everybody likes it.
1080p, 120 hertz screen, beautiful,
Yeah.
7 inches, gorgeous. And again, they went deep. Xbox was represented there by, I forget her name, head of, I should look it up, but the head of Xbox hardware, right? Or one of the heads of Xbox hardware. And they talked a lot about how important this system was to them and their partnership, and obviously again 3 months free of Game Pass Ultimate, and how this was going to open up more doors, another access point, the flexibility of being able to download and play natively, or if you want to play on the cloud and go that route. They were really super excited about the presence of this system and what it could do to open up some more doors for people and how it's all going to play out. So this is definitely a big partnership for them. Again, RDNA 3, Zen 4, all that's in there, the latest and greatest. I guess it's been in development for nearly 6 years, over 5 years, they said. So this is not something that just popped out of the blue because of Steam Deck. This was something that was in the works, and they wanted the best. It's got Atmos sound built into it, which is absolutely fantastic. Just a lot of good stuff at this price point. Again, there's some drawbacks, like people are saying. I think somebody in the chat said an hour 15 at 30 watts. So that's max power. That's not great, but it is what it is. To have this kind of power in your hands, nearly what is it, over 8 teraflops for the Z1 Extreme. That's ridiculous, bro.
Yeah.
In a handheld, we never saw this coming. Like, this is stupid. Just like we didn't see phones getting this far, we didn't think handhelds were going to come this far this fast in this kind of form factor.
The cool thing too, we're still in like the first phase of this real push with these kind of handhelds. You got the Razer one that hit. You have this one. You have the G Cloud from Logitech that was more of a cloud-based device. You have more devices, I'm sure, in the works as well. So over the years, these things are going to become more popular, and people will have their version of whatever it is. Steam Deck or a Windows version, or maybe somebody else comes out and does something. PlayStation has their things supposedly that they're working on that just ties directly to the console, and just does like remote play for your console or whatever. So there's interesting market that's spawning, and this is a big market for Xbox because it really plays into their ecosystem really well, right?
Correct.
Like you can, as a new consumer of one of these devices, you can just get Game Pass and you automatically have hundreds of games, right? You don't have to have a pre-existing library from somewhere else. If you have a big Steam library, cool, you can install Steam on it too, right? That's the best part of this thing. It's like a Steam Deck plus Xbox handheld,
Correct.
So you have all these other benefits to it. I really, it's intriguing to see where this is going to go. And I think, everybody's like, Xbox needs to make a dedicated handheld. Well, I mean, the only benefit would be if they get the price cheaper.
Right.
Yeah, if
right.
the hardware is great, you have the same ecosystem within it because it's a PC. It's already running Windows software, which is what the Xbox runs on. So it's basically like other people are just making handheld Xboxes for you.
Correct.
Which is sick.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So you can pick which one.
Both worlds.
Yeah, and you can pick which one you want too. You're not forced into one option. You know,
Correct.
like that's great. And guess what else? In the future, that helps drive prices down on these devices also, because all these tech companies and hardware companies are going to be competing against each other.
Yep.
Amazing.
100%.
Love it.
It is. Love it. Love it. Love it. Exciting. Again, I watched most of the show, or was listening to most of the show at work. And it was really interesting to hear how, obviously just everybody's kind of thoughts on it. And again, like you said, Mav, having all of your libraries in one place. What has Xbox been pushing nonstop? Play where you want, when you want, on whatever device you're on. And this just lends credibility to that even more so because, like you said, no matter where you play, Epic Game Store, GOG, Steam, don't matter. Game Pass, it's all there for you in one device. Plug and play. Don't have to learn a whole new setup. It's Windows. Pretty much everybody knows Windows. And it just makes everything easy for everybody. Great travel companion, obviously, device for anybody who's trying to go. But like you said, got to be at home next to a plug-in if you're going to be playing at full watts.
Yeah.
AAA, for sure. Or have a short bus ride or a subway ride or whatever the case may be. But I think this thing's going to be a big seller. I can see this thing going like a hotcake. So
the Android, the Razer one that's out, is it based on Android or is it based on Windows?
That one's Android.
Okay, so this is the first one that's really being pushed like that's Windows. Okay,
yes,
that's a big deal for Microsoft, I think.
100%, huge. Again, it's all part of their ecosystem. They don't care.
Yep,
it's good. All right, so we got that done. Let's see where else. We got some smaller stuff real quick, Mav. Well, let's touch on the EU stuff real quick. We're not going to get into it because it's nothing big. I'm not going to hold my breath. We saw what happened with the CMA. We got early reports, but we got reports this week from Reuters, which is a little bit different. There is some, more credibility to the department that it came from within Reuters. So there is some more credibility to the sources, but they also said sources were a couple weeks old. And we saw what happened with the CMA. CMA was looking great. Everybody was saying, sources are saying it's going to get passed.
Yeah, even Kodak in his interview the other day where he looked like he was trying to be Don Johnson from Miami Vice.
No neck. Don Johnson.
He was like, put out this phrase that said, unless like that, like the CMA pretty much, it's almost like he said that they told him they were going to approve that the CMA had accepted the remedies that they had proposed to them. It's, you know what I mean? So and then they went back. It was interesting that he said that, I thought, because it kind of confirms like where all those rumors came from that the CMA was going to approve. Right. And if anybody would know what they said, it would be him.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like, 100%.
So it's interesting to get that energy. And then remember that FTC meeting that Lena Khan had with the CMA. I'm saying, man, shit's going weird out there in these streets.
It is. So anyways, everybody, the EU supposedly is going to approve it. The deal, we should get an announcement. Everybody's saying May 15th. So we'll probably be talking about it next week on this show. If it goes down one way or the other, again, won't hold my breath this time around. Not going to lean into these sources. But that is the update. As of right now, people are saying the EU is ready to approve, which would make things
even more interesting.
If
it doesn't happen, it's dead.
Yeah, it's almost lights out.
If they approve it, I think Microsoft's in for a fight, with the CMA, and they'll figure it out, But we'll see
one way or the other. But we'll see. And everybody's lawyered up with the biggest and best high-powered UK attorneys possible.
Yeah.
Activision's got the Queen Elizabeth II's former attorney. Okay, so like everybody's high-powered right now. So it's going to be interesting. Xbox can't catch a break with some of these third-party deals, man. like a lot of these third-party deals. I mean, we don't have to run down the list of third-party deals they've done where things have happened and the games haven't come out or just haven't turned out or been delayed for a variety of reasons. Nothing to do with Microsoft, nothing to do with Xbox. We got another one, Mav, another part of the 12-month show, a big one when it comes to indies. Probably one of the most hyped, maybe the most hyped indie game out there when it comes down to it. And a lot of us don't realize it because a lot of people like indie games, but we don't swim in the indie game scene all the time. But Hollow Knight's Silksong has got to be the most hyped indie game. Like, there is a huge contingent of fans waiting on this game and have been waiting on it for a very long time. Got word from the developer this week that they are not making the June date. They did not give a new date. They said that they will be back to talk more soon, that they are taking their time. We got the standard letter, right? They're taking their time. They want it to be the best ever. It's not going to hit the June date. So another 12-month game that was shown last year at the Xbox Showcase, huge. Again, I can't understate this. When it comes to indie games, Hollow Knight Silksong is one of the biggest ones. It's not going to be there. We don't know if it's going to make this year or if they're going to push it till next year. Kind of disappointing, though, for a lot of people, obviously. So, I mean, everybody's like, take your time, do whatever you got to do. The usual. We're all in agreement on that. Delays, take your time. But it does kind of suck that it's not being there.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Big game. And it's still a chance it hits later this year.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Second half. It just sucks for Microsoft. Again, Xbox. When they got these deals with these third parties, it's the most random stuff. Whether it's Stalker 2 and all of a sudden war breaks out. Again, way outside of their control.
Dark Tide,
right?
They can't.
Dark Tide.
Yeah.
My God. Pump that game. Like, that was at every showcase. Like, they showed it nonstop. And sure, it shows up on PC, and then they infinitely delay the console version.
Yeah.
Until they fix the PC version.
Which we haven't heard anything about. Like, it's crazy.
It is crazy, man. It's just crazy. And there's so many more, too, that have gone that way. Exomecha, showing off 3 years ago. Right? Huge part of the... Like, everybody was excited for that game. Where is it? Don't know. Developer's gone quiet. Just weird stuff like that, man. It happens again. Atomic Heart, part of the war thing. All of a sudden, there was flack about because they're a Russian developer. Like, it's just all this uncontrollable stuff that happens with the third-party deals. Let's see what else we got here, Mav. Everybody, Plague's Tale Requiem. Hey. A lot of people didn't like the 45 frames mode, right? A lot of people hated the 45 frames mode. Another game that came out where everybody was like, what happened to 60? Why you guys can't get 60 on next gen? Well, guess what?
60 now.
Series X and PS5 both have a 60 frames mode now. The patch came out. I've seen people posting video. Locked 60. Yes, the resolution looks like it did take a dip. Some people are pointing out some differences in certain areas, but that's to be expected. But the fact is, Mav, they got it done, and it can be done. And the 60 frames is possible if you take the extra time. If the devs take the extra time and the publishers give them the extra time they need, we can get 60 frames modes.
But I heard you just go ahead and put them out, and it's okay. I'll say that, hey, I like it that they're getting the update. I don't like it because I feel like it could have been accomplished beforehand or waited till it was there. But however, Plague Tale, props to them to Asobo for getting this update out.
Sticking to it and getting it done, right? That's what matters at the end of the day. It's a little late. The game's come and gone, and most people either played it or haven't played it, but it is what it is. Another game that got a update. Didn't necessarily need an update because of the style of game. But if you guys haven't played this, it's still in Game Pass, and you get the update for free. So go try this game. Weird West from Devolver is absolutely amazing. It's from Wolfeye Games as a developer, and Wolfeye Games is former Obsidian devs. Okay?
Yeah.
And I think there's even some In-Exile devs in there as well. This game is awesome. Let me tell you, if you like the old West top-down kind of game, it's action-based. It's not turn-based. It is action-based. This game is cool as hell. But now, got the update. No reason not to go try it. 4K 60, and it's beautiful. I've had that game downloaded. I've never uninstalled it. I got the patch, went in, played a couple hours this week. That's a game I didn't mention in the beginning. Played a couple hours this week. Looks fantastic, flawless.
Was it
4K.
Was it noticeable difference for you?
Not over the top because of the style graphics and because of the style game. It's top down, game, so it's further back. But absolutely,
I couldn't have told you that game wasn't running 4K 60 before, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. Right. But the 60 frames, like, for sure could tell.
Yeah.
Like, it was locked 60. That was noticeable. The graphics, it is sharper in areas, and the graphics already pop off the screen because they're kind of a heavily shaded cartoonish kind of style a little bit. They're very stylized. I want to say cartoonish because it comes off wrong sometimes. But very shady, heavy, kind of hand-drawn look to them. A comic book almost, kind of, in some ways. Very cool game, though. Go check it out.
Yeah. I recommend it also. It's very good.
Yeah, it's a very good game. Very fun. Avowed. We got some Obsidian news. Speaking of Obsidian, Avowed, we found out this week that Digimancy Entertainment Studio is collaborating on the development of Avowed. Mav, the CEO of Digimancy, worked at Obsidian during the makings of Pillars of Eternity. Also, one of the writers on a Disco Elysium, which is an awesome game I have to get back to at some freaking point. I've had that game for ever. Disco Elysium won tons of awards. People said it's some people, I think it was in that latest top 100 games, Disco Elysium actually made it really high up on that list of people. But one of the writers of Disco Elysium is also that worked on Pentiment, now works for Digimancy as well. So a lot of cross-pollination there. Digimancy helping out Obsidian, get Avowed right. I'm all for it, man. This sounds good, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a good collab. Yep.
That's not the most excited game that I have that got an update, though.
Which one are you going with? Which one are you going with?
State of Decay 2.
State of Decay 2? I figured I had that down my list here. Yep.
Man.
Yeah, go ahead.
You have the notes? I don't have them.
I got the notes. Yes,
go for it.
Calarie. Shout out to Calarie as always. State of Decay 2 Heart Attack by Undead Labs coming today for free. Shout out to Undead Labs. Yeah. Working on State of Decay 3. State of Decay 2 came out. I shouldn't say nobody. A lot of people didn't like it. It wasn't a complete game. They have worked on this nonstop, and it has now become a test bed for a lot of things that they're putting into State of Decay 3, but they continuously update State of Decay 2. I love State of Decay 2.
Yeah.
I put a lot of hours into that. I went back to it and started playing it again. Mav, you and I have played co-op with Jasper on it, Psychonauts. The game is just freaking fantastic, and it's nothing like it originally was. Well, they brought out this new Heart Attack update, a massive update to Plague Hearts, infesting hordes, infestations, siege sites, sieges, radio commands, outpost defense, and more. Gigantic update. I can't wait. I'm going to re-download it and try it out.
Me too. I'm pumped. Honestly, like, the reason I'm most excited about this one, like the other ones, like, maybe tweak the visuals, and like a lot of those games are running pretty much 60 anyway and stuff, except for Plague Tale. I'm excited about that also, but this is like changing the core gameplay of what the game is. So I'm going to go in and experience this game, which State of Decay 2 runs amazing now. Like, when it launched, it had a lot of issues, just like 1 did. But just like 1, they updated over year after year after year and keep adding stuff and changing things, big content updates. And then out of the blue, just random drop like this. It's like, hey, we're changing a lot of the core gameplay elements in the game. Come check this out. We just made the game better. Not just visually, not just with performance, but like we're expanding upon what you do. Like, it just sounds fucking awesome. And I love State of Decay. One of my games I want to see is State of Decay 3. I really want to know what it is and what it's going to be like. So I'm going to be diving back into this for sure.
Awesome. We might have to hook up and play a little bit.
Yes.
To give you guys an idea, this is update number 33 they've put out for State of Decay 2. So a ton of freaking update. And these updates, like Mav said, sure, some of them aren't the biggest changes, but they're usually long listed items of fixes and everything else. This game, again, compared to where it was day one.
Well, that's why their player bases grow on Xbox games a lot. Like, you see these celebrations. Well, this game has surpassed this amount of players and stuff over years.
Last year was State of Decay 2 was 10 million.
Yeah.
I think.
And that's like, people don't think of State of Decay 2 as like a big game. You know what I mean? Like, but that's a lot of players to play a game. And guess what? You do things like this, more people find it and kind of get hooked, and they become like, oh, this is the only thing I want to play. You know what I mean? Like, and Xbox has a lot of those kind of games, you know? So that's, I think, what the vision is for 3 as well. I think they're going to want to hook people into that for the long haul and be the de facto zombie game to go to, you know?
Correct. 100%. Yeah, I want to dive back in. I got to see this. FIFA 23 coming to Game Pass for everybody with Game Pass Ultimate EA Play. It is coming. FIFA 23, obviously gigantic. What can you say? FIFA sells huge numbers every year. Maybe not in the US, but it still sells big in the US, but more obviously in Europe and stuff. But it's coming to through EA Play to Game Pass soon. I think it's next week, Mav, I want to say, or the week after it's coming. So FIFA 23 will be in there shortly.
Yeah.
That's always cool. Also, EA news. Tom Henderson, shout out Tom. EA game slate for fiscal year 24. So that is April 2023 through March 2024. Mav, I know this caught your attention. Reveals that Skate and Dragon Age Deadwolf are mid 2024 releases.
Okay.
The unannounced racing game is WRC, and the EA Sports title is like a UFC, then moves onto Fight Night.
Yeah. That's what I want to see. No more fucking UFC games. Get that shit out of here. That's cool for you that like them. I want Fight Night. Bring back Fight Night. Fight Night was the best like modern fighting game franchise. Fight Night Champions still holds up today if you play it. And graphically, they were always like, how did they do that?
The sweat like, and stuff.
God, it was amazing. It was like crazy, like graphically, like the way it's like the crazy stuff you'd see. And it excites me because I wanted to see what the evolution of that would be today. And it's been so long now, you know? So yes, bring back Fight Night. I can't wait.
I agree, man.
I wonder if they're gonna go a pro. I got a thought about this, right? Because boxing has taken a different approach the last several years, right? Yes. And one thing I would not be surprised to see is this thing with these celebrity boxing matches and like the the content creators and all this kind of stuff, you know.
We're gonna see the Pauls.
I think we're gonna see shit like that. You know, I'm being honest. You know, on, like man.
As long as they give me the classic boxers, I'm cool.
Yeah,
they go all 100%. In and get in. It's hard with boxing games for anybody who doesn't know because the licensing is all individual. There's no one you don't go get like the boxing license and you just have all the boxers like you do with the NFL or the NBA. So you have to go individually sign a lot of these people, their likenesses or their families if they passed on or whatever, their estates, etc. So you're dealing with tons of licenses. If they go back and get all the classic boxers again, Mav, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Again, there was nothing better than playing with like Muhammad and all that kind of stuff. If they do that, I'm all in. I don't care what they do with the fun side of things now. Go do it. But if they get like Tyson in there, oh my god.
The fun thing is they already had the like amazing character creators anyway, so you would have like amazing creations.
For sure.
But like it will be a little silly, I think, if they take the approach that boxing has gone in. It's made boxing somewhat more popular than it has been for a long time. Unfortunately, you know,
I miss boxing. I understand why UFC is so cool, and I understand why people get into it.
It's entertaining as hell.
Pure boxing, back in the day, I used to watch it all the damn time on HBO. Like Friday Night Fight. Oh my god, bro! It used to be so good. All the divisions, from flyweight to heavyweight, there always interesting matchups, interesting characters, but it was pure boxing, and that was fun. Understand again why UFC took off. It's brutal. Again, getting different mixed martial artists in there together with different fighting styles. It's interesting, all that. But for me, as a spectator, I just want to see pure boxing. Back in the day, but again, the boxers have moved on elsewhere. The athletes. Yeah,
the athletes are doing other stuff now, right?
Stuff. Yep, exactly. So, but yeah, that is exciting, Mav, and I agree. I can't wait to see what they do with Fight Night going forward. And for all you NCAA fans waiting for EA's return to college football. The report says Q3 2024, according to Tom Henderson. That's what he heard. So Q3 next year.
For which game?
So for NCAA,
okay.
college
Right
football,
on.
the return
Nice.
of college football. Yeah. Which again, I'm all for, because that in-house competition between NCAA college football and Madden was legendary. It pushed both teams to get better, because most people thought the college football played better as a pure football game than Madden did.
Yeah.
And you'd see the Madden team get pissed off and try new stuff and actually update their games and actually try to do something different to make it so that people started saying Madden was better again. I just want to see that come back again, that in-house competition.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. I don't know, man. I don't really have anything else. I mean, we got the report. Horizon Forbidden West, they finally gave sales numbers after all this time. We had some back and forth in the DMs a little bit. Me and some of the guys over at Xbox Factor Podcast about this. Shout out to Infinite Umbra. Finally announced numbers. Everybody's kind of been waiting. Everybody knew this was kind of a slow seller because Sony always celebrates big numbers. But for the anniversary, they came out and announced that overall, Horizon, the franchise, has sold over 32 million. And Forbidden West is now at 8.4 million copies sold. I said that's a good number. Of course, people brought up the fact that this was bundled. I'd take it at face value because that's Sony's ecosystem. They bundle all their games. So for me, a number is a number. It's just like when Xbox announces number of players on a game because it's in Game Pass, and they say, 25 million people have played Forza Horizon. I mean, I don't sit there and analyze that number and say, yeah, but how many people really actually played it? Somebody played an hour, that counts. So I don't. 8.4 million for Horizon Forbidden West, I still think is a good number from the outside. It's ahead by 1 million over Zero Dawn. So you can say, well, that's not that big a deal, especially with the install base. I still think for the game itself, for how many people say it's boring and people don't like it, 8.4 is still a good number to me. I don't know.
It's okay. I mean, it's not like,
it's not
wow,
Spider-Man. It's not God of War. It's not. It's not Last of Us.
Honestly,
it's not that.
It's about what I would expect.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah.
So it's nothing to like crazy celebrate, but it's nothing to like shun at either. It's about like expectations, maybe slightly exceeding them potentially. I don't know what they expected to get out of it, so that's hard.
Probably, I would say under. I probably think they probably thought they were probably at 10 million by this point. I think Sony.
So that would be then that would be bad, right?
Right. Internally.
So, yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, it's cool.
Hard to say.
I think that obviously, the bundling does help. The bundling will help other games in the future as well, and stuff like that. This probably helped Horizon Forbidden West more than anything else because they were bundling it for so long in there, right? At a time when people were really trying to get their PlayStations, So, I think overall we'll look back on Horizon Forbidden West and be like, that was an okay game. I don't understand the love affair with it personally, like with Horizon. For me,
a lot of people are in your camp.
When I play it, I kind of get bored. It feels kind of generic, and the story is boring to me. The characters are boring. The gameplay is generic. The graphics are good, but I feel like I'm playing like piecemealed versions of other games, kind of. Sure. And I don't like shooting robots in games.
Yeah, I do.
I don't know what it is. Like, I hate the robots in Gears. I hate the robots in Halo, like the Prometheans when you introduced all that.
Gears doesn't make. I hate the robots in Gears.
Yeah,
because it doesn't fit what I want out of Gears. Whereas this game, it was based around that, and I loved it. So I mean, I get where you're coming. And again, you are in the majority of people in a lot of ways because most people say that Horizon's the most boring game out of any of the Sony games to them. It's kind of par for the course with Guerrilla, isn't it?
It's one that I wanted to love too. When it first came out, I was really excited about the first one, and I got it. I was like, yeah, okay, yes, it's gonna be
I loved it.
great. And I was like, okay. Wow, this story is like putting me to sleep and, you know, like all that kind of stuff. So I kind of moved on past it. But, you know, the second one, when I had the trial of it or whatever that they had, on PS Plus Premium or whatever. And I played a little significant portion of the beginning of the game, and I was okay. This is more of the first one, right? I will say this Burning Shores DLC I've seen going around on Twitter is gorgeous. Like that looks more fun than anything that I've seen from that game franchise. So if there's anything that would get me to try it again, it would be that DLC. But yeah, congrats to them for maybe slightly underperforming, maybe overperforming. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. But it's Guerrilla. Like I said, it's kind of par for the course for Guerrilla games, right?
Yeah.
I mean, again, they kind of did this with Killzone. Killzone still to this day, graphically, is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like there's no denying that. Like
the game sucked though.
Yeah. But right. And they just couldn't hit the story beats to get people interested in. And again, you don't always have to have big giant story beats in first person shooters, but because you marketed it as a Halo killer, you kind of set yourself up. And that was during Halo when Halo was Halo, like in a lot of ways, and the story and Master Chief. I mean, that's like great. Like people love Halo for the story. And they came out and it was just kind of like, yeah, meh. I liked playing Killzone. I liked the multiplayer in Killzone from some aspects, but the story was like, yeah, okay, whatever.
It's weird too, because the story idea of it is great.
Yes. Right.
The whole concept of what happens and the storyline, the plot lines and stuff are like, wow, that's so fucking cool. I would love to play that. And you play it and it's like, why isn't this clicking? Why is it so boring? Because it should be so badass. And it's like, comes down to the characters and the way that they're telling the story, right? Is what I don't like. It's slogs, man.
And that's fine. And I have a totally different experience with it. Like I liked Aloy in Zero Dawn. Of course, I haven't played Forbidden West yet. So but Zero Dawn, I liked it. And again, the dinosaurs for me like Dinobots. That's why I enjoyed it so much, right?
No, if this was actually a fucking Dinobot, like if you're telling me it's actually Transformers, my whole robot thing's out the window. I love shooting robots in disguise. I mean,
are we gonna get that Transformer game this year? By the
God, I hope so, man. We
saw that Gen 1.
Oh, dude, I want it so bad, and I want there to be. I want ABK to happen just so that High Moon Studios can go, like, get the Transformers license back again and be like, hey, we want to make a Transformers game again.
But don't do it in the movie version of Transformers anime. Go back to Gen 1.
Yes. It's like, there's so many. You know what drives me fucking crazy, Pong?
Yeah.
Is we see these licensed IPs made into games and stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, the most obvious home runs elude the creators and the deals that get made. How does this happen?
From our perspective, yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the general perspective, the most popular things. You know, like there's things that they make these huge movie franchises out of for a reason. They're popular to begin with, right? Like they keep missing the boat on making like amazing things out of some of these properties. It's like, how do they keep just fucking doing weird stuff instead of like out of the box things? Like it's like trying to be too creative. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like
we can't instead of trusting the core fan base and what made that IP popular. It's like, oh no, we got to do something else.
We're gonna make our twist on it and our take on this franchise. It's like, just fucking give us the meat and like I like steak. You put a bunch of weird shit and like weird flavors on my steak. I don't want it. Just give me a fucking steak.
Well, that's you because you like plain shit.
Well, hey, come on now. It's because I make good steak and my wife makes an amazing marinade. I don't got to put a bunch of weird shit on it. You know what I mean? Like it just fucking tastes good. I don't need A1 on my steak. Okay.
I love A1.
Oh God, Heinz is way better than A1, bro.
No, A1 is the
Heinz
shit,
57, man.
A1 bold and spicy.
I don't ever use that shit anymore.
Every day.
I used to use it when I was a well done steak eater back in the day when I was dumb.
I've never been a well done guy. I'll tell you.
Yeah. I've moved on past. I'm a medium.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might as well have a hamburger at that point.
Yeah. I'm a medium all the way. Just medium.
I'm a medium rare. All the way.
I like medium rare. The catches sometimes you ask for medium rare. they give you a fucking they give you like the shit still moving, you know, when it's on your plate.
The blood pool.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, this is like, you gotta cook it a little bit, guys. You know what I mean? Like, you need to slice it and put it on the fucking plate. Like, I mean, come on.
But yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Like, they do try to do they get too cute sometimes with some of these franchises, and it's like, what are you doing?
It's like, where's the X-Men game? Where is the like the big epic Transformer game that's based on what we all experienced growing up with Transformers? You know, like the Gen 1 on Earth.
Yes.
You know, like that whole plot, like where is the game where you play as a Transformer in that world? You know what I mean? Where is the G.I. Joe game that isn't like an arcadey weird little stupid thing? Where is the, like, there's so many examples. Where's the Ninja Turtle game that's like hardcore and gritty, like the original like comics or something, or like the original movies was a little bit, you know what I mean? Like,
I was actually going to bring this topic up to Jasper, because we are getting a new Star Trek game. But what the hell? Why have we never gotten a good Star Trek game? Like, ever. Like, I'm sure Jasper will name off some PC Star Trek game that's really good. But again, Star Trek is one of the biggest sci-fi IPs out there, and we get these games that are like AA, like, or we get some shitty MMO, and it's like, why? This is one of the best sci-fi RPG or sci-fi franchises ever that you could easily turn into like RPGs. You could easily turn it.
Mass Effect is like Star Trek.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like,
yes, that's what I'm saying. But we can't. Oh my god, some of the greatest characters of all time. Like, it's just stupid. But you're right. You're right.
Like,
your point.
They miss the home runs easy. It's like, I don't know. I just don't get it. We got some well done steak eaters in the chat, Pong. I'm sorry if I called you dumb.
What?
I just don't understand you. I don't understand. You know, I want some juice.
There better not be. I'm looking. There better not be some well done.
There's some well done steak eaters in here. The biggest well done.
Just go have a hamburger.
Talos is well done.
Just go have a hamburger. Now, what is your well done? Like brown all the way through? Because if it's brown all the way through, you got a problem. If you're going to tell me that you still like a light pink center, okay, well, I can kind of hear that.
That's supposed to be how well done is, but they never give it to you like that. That's
but they never give it to you that
way.
Yeah.
Jigga J says medium or medium well. I don't do medium well, because if I ask for medium well, it's just going to be well done. Like you say, the medium for me, I ask for medium because if it's slightly under, I'm okay. If it's slightly over, I'm okay. But like, if I go medium well, it's just going to be well done when it gets on my plate. If I ask for medium rare, it's just going to be fucking raw, right? So they just never get it right. So I ask for medium because, hey, you know, it's harder to fuck it up. I'll live in that medium rare to medium well spectrum. But I don't really trust other people with my cooking my steak anyway these days, man. Like, I gotta cook it myself. And here's the thing: if I'm cooking your steak, I don't take request on doneness, because I only know one way to cook my steak, and that's how I like it. Okay. So if you ever come to my house and I'm grilling steak and I invite you over and you're coming, we're all hanging out, we're having a grill, I'm cooking on steak, don't come to me and say, I like mine medium rare, Mav. I'll say, get your ass over there. You're going to get how I cook it. Okay.
I'd grill it myself. I'd say, give me the grill. I'll do mine.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. But I'll tell you, I only know how to cook it my way. You know, if you ask for medium rare.
I can't believe how many freaking well done people there are in here. God, what's wrong with you people? And the people hating on A1. Vik The CLiCK.
A1 is ass, bro.
No, it's fucking delicious.
It's ass, and I can't put steak sauce on a steak anymore anyway because it ruins the flavor of the steak. But if I had a shitty steak, right, I would put Heinz 57 all over that shit.
Condiments make everything better, no matter how expensive, no matter how good it is. Condiments make it better.
Oh my God, no, you haven't had one of my steaks.
Oh, bro, I've had some of the best steak ever.
No,
I've had steak that I will eat without A1. Okay, I've had that good steak
that's high praise.
It is for me. For me.
I've had steak that I won't eat.
Yes, no, from one of the greatest steakhouses up here. Right?
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I'm just saying, like, we're talking spendy steak, softball steak, right? So it comes.
Yeah. You know, one of those big steakhouses. Yeah, crazy expensive. Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, so good, right? But I still had A1 on the side.
Yeah,
I still had to have a little A1.
Really?
They
You
looked
like
at me
A1
like I was
that much?
crazy.
Yeah, I
I
would
like
too.
the A1 that much. Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
That's
I'm a
fine.
condiment guy.
If you like drinking A1, then I guess that's your thing.
Yeah.
I will say that A1 is the worst steak sauce on the planet. Heinz 57.
I'll call you a liar.
Heinz 57 just completely destroys it. Ultimately.
It's fine. You eat plain animal crackers, so your taste does not count for any shit. Your opinion on anything does not count. Oh, by the way, Jasper did come through with one. See, Star Trek Voyager Elite Force year 2000 was made by Raven. Hey, shout out to Raven. We like Raven. And was pretty much like Quake and Doom. A Star Trek game that was like Quake and Doom. Are you serious, Jasper? Jesus, that's something to see.
I'm asking the community.
Did you put a poll up?
A1 or Heinz 57?
You should probably put a none in there because I probably would've won
that'll
out,
win it.
because most
That'll
people
win.
say-
Yeah, I mean, I don't use it ever, but if I use a steak sauce, it's Heinz. You're in that early lead with 1 vote. Somebody out there. Did you just vote, Pong?
No, I actually did not tap it yet. There's 12 votes on my side.
I'm surprised that anybody.
A1 is killing it right now. 13
What?
votes. I'm at 92%.
God, A1 is so bad.
No, it's not.
It
Well, it's
just
dropping down. We're at 82%.
It just
now.
tastes-
No, A1.
It just tastes gross, man.
Oh, bold and spicy.
And now
Oh,
time to get to our
God.
sponsor, brought to you by A1 Steak Sauce.
See, a lot of people are putting none in there, and I understand that concept. Everybody, it's not like I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God, how do you people eat plain food? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for me, I'm a condiment guy. You guys like don't understand.
Yeah.
Like everything, sandwiches, over the top mayo, over the top Miracle Whip, over the top mustard, hot dogs, over the top ketchup, over the top mustard, over the top relish, like dripping. Like, oh yeah, Mav, you would hate me. You would hate me.
Sour
I am
cream.
a condiment
Do you
dude.
do sour cream?
On what?
Anything?
Well, like depending.
If
No,
you were to
it's
go to
not my
Taco Bell and get something that has sour cream on it,
No, I won't. No, I won't. I don't like sour cream like that.
Okay.
Nope, I don't like sour cream like that. If like if it's done in mashed potatoes and it's mixed up and in.
Yeah,
there,
yeah. Flavor wise, if it does,
yes,
if mixed, okay.
yes. Yeah, I don't generally just ask for sour cream. No.
Sour cream is the worst thing on the planet. The fact that it exists in any kind of form that to eat just like it is ridiculous. Now, if you put it in some, like you said, mix it up to where it completely hides and dissolves and it disappears. Hey, cool.
Right.
You put it as a sauce on something. I put that shit in my mouth. I will immediately gag. Like, I gotta say, no sour cream on anything that comes with sour cream. And if they fuck it up, man, I'm telling you, it's like, ugh, I can't do it. I don't like big gobs of creamy white things squirting into my mouth. I'll tell you that right now. So
You did that on purpose.
no, it's like it's a thing. It's just it's a texture thing. It's a taste thing. It just smells bad. It tastes bad. It looks bad. It's just horrible. It's like wants to be mayo or ranch, but it just fails miserably at both.
And see, I don't like ranch either. So
Biggest
not a
ass if
ranch
we
guy.
tried Wagyu before. I've tried
yes.
I've tried Wagyu, I think. Have I tried Wagyu, babe? I'm sure I have.
You gotta ask the wife.
I don't know. I don't
She
buy
said
it.
she said she just made you dip with sour cream in it, by the way.
Yeah, so it's mixed in though. It's
Yeah.
not sour
Yeah.
cream. You know,
Yeah.
I like ribeyes. I just get ribeyes. Yeah,
Okay.
that's my steak of choice is a ribeye.
Okay.
And
I like strip. So
yeah, I like strip too. That's my second best.
Yeah.
That's my second favorite. You know, if you're cheaping out, you get a London broil. You know,
Yeah. Yep.
But you know, strip is great. Ribeye is my favorite. Absolutely. Don't put sour cream on my nachos.
no, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like I'll have a ton of I'll have nacho supreme, but just don't have the sour cream on.
My God, 71% say A1
See?
is over Heinz.
Thank you, condiment people, for confirming yet again. Yes, once again, Mav's opinion on taste counts for nothing around here. Again, the man eats plain freaking cardboard animal crackers. That's all I got to say. Terrible.
I'd rather put those on my steak than A1.
That's freaking disgusting, bro. That's freaking disgusting. All right. On that note, with a victory in hand for A1, and Mav leading us to grossness by saying he'd
Bullshit.
rather have animal crackers on his freaking steak than A1. We're gonna get everybody out of here unless Mav, you got anything. Oh, Caitlin pulled out the ketchup with steak. Now that's where I don't. I draw the line there. You got anything else you want to talk about, Mav? Anything we missed?
Yeah, I had some great tacos today.
We're doing food. We're PM in the PM food edition right now.
I had some
starting
great
live.
street
We're gonna go for those 2
tacos
hours
today.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know what's for dinner yet. I gotta talk to my wife, see what we're doing.
You think there will be a next? What's the biggest ask? Shout out to the biggest in chat. Just had a question. Fun speculation. Do you think there will be a next Xbox console for next gen?
Yes, I do.
100% yes.
Yes.
Yeah. We got at least, I say there's 2 more console generations, but obviously the way tech moves, who knows?
Yeah.
But I think we got 2 more. I think we got 2 more console generations. Now the consoles might get small, or the consoles might become a plug-in device that just kind of sits there and it's all digital and it's different from what we think of as a console. But I think there's going to be hardware in our home for at least 2 more generations and probably longer. I mean, I just think that native playing will still be the best experience, like Phil has said. Overall, will be native hardware. So either that or they turn into Xbox PCs and we just get Xbox pre-built PCs. So
cool.
That do everything with Windows 11 and AI. AI integrated consoles is next on the list. That's where I think it's going. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting.
We'll have another Connect where it talks to you. Hello, Mav. How was your evening? Welcome to Xbox. What would you like to play tonight?
Can we name the AI Phil?
Sure. We probably have Phil's voice in there too.
Doing great, Phil. Or like when the Xbox fucks up, you say, "Damn it, Phil."
Yeah. It'd be like, that was not my fault, Mav. Get good.
Why won't you sync my cloud save, Phil?
RDNA 5 at 30 FPS? Probably, Sousa.
Yeah.
Probably. These devs are going to continue to get...
What we got to achieve here is the pinnacle of gaming now with a 97 is roughly 30 frames.
Correct.
97, roughly 30 frames.
Yep. 30 frames is okay for some consoles. And
yeah, I saw somebody saying, this was Refudge answered somebody talking about 20 frames. He said, you know, with 30 frames, the occasional drop to 20 is not such a big deal.
Nix.
But when you're trying to hit 60 and you're hitting 45 frequently, that's a lot worse.
Yep.
What? So you're saying it's more acceptable to have drops down to 20 because you can't hit 30 than like hitting 45 instead of 6?
Yeah. Did you see that reviewer who had a review for Redfall where he said, I'm not going back to 30 frames? And then he put out his review today for Tears of the Kingdom and was praising the hell out of it.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Actually, in the headlines, in actual headlines, I'm not going back to 30 frames and then praising Tears of the Kingdom today.
There's something about a smaller screen if you do play in handheld mode that may help some of that. Like a lot of the Steam Deck games would run at like 45 instead of 60, you know, but it wasn't really that noticeable on it because it's like on a smaller screen. Right. But like blown up on a big screen, it's gonna be
just not.
Nah.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. Like, again, it depends on the game. I've had 30 frame games that really bother me that are like, oh my God. And then a lot of them I just don't. Like I said, I go back to my 360 all the time. Is it noticeable? Yeah, it is. But overall, again, what is crazy though is going back to the 360 games. I was just playing, what the hell was I playing? I played a 360 game this week. Oh, this last weekend. What did I play? I downloaded, what the hell is it? Mav, I saw somebody post it in our bad games thread, right? Bad games that you enjoy. I saw somebody post it and I forgot I actually even owned the game and I popped it back in. Why can't I think of the name? My God, my old brain. What's the game set on Mars where you can destroy everything? What's it called?
Red Faction.
Red Faction
Armageddon?
Yes.
That was me that said that.
Was it you that said that?
I love Armageddon. Everybody hated on Armageddon. I loved it.
Bro, I had it. I own it. I didn't know I owned it, but I downloaded it again and started playing it. And what I will say, and it is a good game, by the way. It is a really good game.
It's more linear than the other Red Factions.
Yes, absolutely, of course. But everything's destructible still. It's fun as hell. But what I will say is that it is interesting to think about, and again, can you tell it's a 360 game? Of course you can tell it's a 360 game. I hate people that always say, oh, you're just lying, blah, blah, blah. No, what I'm about to say is, though, if you go back and play 360 games, especially when you play them on 360, because you do get the up res, so that, even though the resolution's bad, it still shows better on my OLED, whatever else. But if you go back and you start playing these games, what developers were doing with that freaking hardware to this day is still unbelievable. Like, you go back, there's points in with auto HDR, obviously, which is a feature that we now get. There's points when I was playing Red Faction where I was actually stopping. I'm like, God, this is kind of like a good looking game. Like, there's like beautiful moments in that game. And it's crazy to think about what the developers were doing from a physics standpoint in something like Red Faction, where you could destroy all of this stuff and crazy physics were going on while you were doing it. And they had like the magnet gun and stuff, man, where you could pull huge objects across the screen and have them, bash in to like buildings or into walls and stuff and break through them. Like, it was pretty insane what developers were doing back then. They were pushing hardware that was not meant to do that back then, and with pretty awesome level design on top of it.
Red Faction Armageddon was underrated, I thought, because it was more linear, so I think it caught reviewers, because I think Guerrilla was like more open and stuff, like that. So
huge open,
But I really liked Armageddon. It was refreshing because it was like, you sat there, you played through it, and had a decent story. It was fun to play the whole way through. It was kind of refreshing. But yeah, that was one of those.
But there's a lot of games like that I look at that I'm just like, God, man, what the developers were able to do with this freaking garbage architecture, this garbage hardware, like with no memory, like nothing, like it was stupid. Like, the whole Oblivion and Todd Howard admitting that they had the actual console restart itself.
Yeah.
Reset during the game, and you never noticed it while you were playing.
Yep. Crazy.
Just crazy, man. Crazy stuff. All right, let's get everybody out of here. Mav.
Oh, one more thing.
What a great night. Yeah, go ahead.
Did you guys know if you order a cheeseburger from Whataburger, you can get a double cheeseburger, but if you order during the app, using the app, you can. This is just a note to anybody that likes Whataburger, because it's fucking great. If you order with the app, you can, the double. One thing about Whataburger is they only they don't put cheese on automatically, so you have to ask for cheese, right? For some of the stuff. So if you get like a double meat Whataburger, you got to ask for cheese. But if you use the app, you can ask for both American and Monterey Jack. Which, Jack in the Box, if you get like a bacon ultimate cheeseburger from there or ultimate cheeseburger from there, they use like both kinds of cheese, right? So it has this like really great cheesy, melty flavor between the two. So a food hack for everybody that likes Whataburger, use the app and get Monterey Jack and American on your burger.
That's amazing.
Just wanted to tell you that public service announcement, because it makes Whataburger, which is fantastic, even better.
Yeah, when my dad lives in Texas and we go visit him, I always made him take.
Might want to tell your dad. Make sure he knows that.
Good. Well, he's in Florida now.
Oh, they have a few Whataburgers in Florida.
Yeah, not by him though, I don't think. So, but in Texas there was one right by him, so it was freaking amazing though. It's so different. Even fast food is different. It's so weird, man. Because again, I'm a McDonald's fiend. I will always love McDonald's.
McDonald's also has new cheeseburgers, everybody.
Yes, they do. And I talked to the kiddo, because the kid's working there, right? The wife's youngest is working there now. So I said, hey, did you guys start doing new stuff with your burgers? He's like, how did you know? I'm like, because it's all over the internet. Like, everybody knows. He's like, yeah, we're one of the first shops doing it. So yeah,
they're great. They're way better, improved. I also don't like pie.
Oh, that's right. You're one of those weirdos.
I just trying to keep food conversation going.
Caitlin, I don't know how you stayed married to this man with his food choices. How do you not like? Oh, that's right. Pie. I forgot we had these discussions.
I like pizza pie
a long time ago.
Pizza or meat pies. No. I don't like gooey, fruity things.
All right, everybody.
Creamy things.
We're gonna get out of here before Mav goes on another one. Okay. It's been 3.5 hours, sir. I do need to eat.
Okay.
I got home late.
I'm hungry. Am I making you hungry?
I had a long day. Yes, you are, and I don't have that type of food in my house, so I'm gonna have to look and try to find something.
Go to McDonald's.
No, not going to McDonald's. Anyways, listen, everybody, great night. Chat, thank you all for joining us again. Peaking around 150 plus people in here. Amazing. Whether you stop by for 5 minutes to say hi, whether you stay the entire show to listen to Mav's ridiculous takes on food. Listen, we enjoy it. We love you all. Nothing but respect for coming out and supporting this show and every other show that you do, whether it's on this channel or whether it's on a different channel. Again, you chat members are the ones that make everything in this community go. The conversation happens in the chat sometimes is just absolutely fantastic and can drive some of our shows. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for partaking in this. And thank you for helping the Fun Speculation Network continue to grow. Appreciate you all. But let's get Mav going here. Mav, we got Xbox Ultimate tomorrow night. As always, panel's fantastic. The addition of Pickle Papa, Game Pass Dad has been, of course, just natural because he's one of the family. He just drops in and it's just been great. And of course, we've got all of our other members, which have just been absolutely fantastic. We've been just having great show after great show. Again, we want to finish the Revolutionary War just to get ABK done. I still think it's one of the funniest lines ever. But I told Cog that the other night and he just died. Anyways, tell everybody what you got coming up, Mav, and what you can expect this weekend. I'm sure, Mav, you may be streaming some Diablo this weekend at some point.
Yeah, Diablo. I'm going to hop back into some State of Decay. I am going to maybe play some more MLB The Show, and that's probably about it for gaming for the weekend. Other than that, we got Xbox Ultimate, like you said, tomorrow night. We're going to have a blast. Make sure you tune in because we'll have a lot of fun tomorrow. And do have to say also soon, I'm going to start getting to work on the Fun Speculation Xbox Showcase Prediction Special, which we've done for 2 years in a row. This will be the third year. And I think so. I've thought about it, but your A1 sauce thing is making me second guess stuff.
Yeah, well, I want to be a part of a show with a pie hater either. So
yeah. Well, how about this? We'll make a bet. Like one of us has to like drink a half a bottle of the sauce of the other person's sauce of their preference if we don't get our showcase predictions right.
No, we're not doing that.
Okay. Fine. Fair enough. I tried.
All
right. So we'll do that. Well, we're going to have this prediction special show. I'll put it together. It's going to take a lot of work, but I'm going to get a lot of creators again to take part, and it'll be a lot of fun. And then we have Mondays FSP at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So, but look out for that show to drop probably right around a few days before the showcase. What about you, Pong?
That's it? Okay, cool. Awesome.
I think I got everything.
Everybody said pause, by the way, on your sauce comment. Anyways, listen up.
Eat each other's sauce?
Yeah. No.
I didn't realize how it sounded.
Yeah, you did. You always did. Listen, everybody, great show, great night. You know the drill. Pong Soul on Xbox, Pong Soul on Twitter. Of course, tomorrow night, it is Xbox Ultimate, as Mav said. We are going to have a great time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Be there. We'll have lots of laughs. We're going to talk probably a lot of gaming stuff like Diablo. Hail Lilith and Mother's Back, and it's going to be great. And I'm going to be fiending to be playing
Server Slam
show. Yeah, Server Slam, Summer Slam, whatever you want to call it. And then obviously Saturday mornings, you know the drill. It's Living Split Screen. It is my brother from another, Steel Rain, and I going live, raw, and uncut for I'm thinking I'm gonna have to limit to 3 hours this week because I got so much to do. We'll see, but you know what it's gonna be. It's just gonna be nothing but energy from the get-go because that's the way Steel and I roll into Saturday mornings. We absolutely love having you all join us. So please, we are on Mission 1K, Living Split Screen, Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. We're going to have a lot to talk about. I'm sure there's going to be some community highlights in there as well. So be there or be square on Living Split Screen Saturday morning. And then Saturday night, it's the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam's channel, who is seeing massive growth after all this time. Well-deserved, beyond deserved, PTK Blam and the Shop Podcast Saturday nights. The chat has been absolutely amazing. PTK, Fuzzy, myself, and this week we have the one and only Wandering Dutch from the Midweek Mix-Up Collective joining us on Saturday night. It's going to be like 3 a.m. there for Wandering. I can't believe he's joining us, but whatever. He's amazing. He's an awesome dude. Another brother from another. So be there Saturday night for the Shop Podcast. And then next week, things, all good things green. Tuesdays, Xbox Factor Podcast. Double Barrel Gaming's the channel. Mr. Boomstick's the man, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. for great conversation about Xbox. Be there every Tuesday, Thursday, back here for another show, another episode, PM in the PM, with one of my favorite dudes, one of my best friends, the one, the only Fun Speculation, aka Mav, where we get down to business, and we might be talking some ABK next week. So if we get a passing, if it's not passing, it's going to be whatever.
Fuck it, we'll just move on.
Yeah, we'll just move on.
A year and a half
Anyways,
of talking.
yeah,
It's
exactly,
out the window.
exactly.
I'll
Out the
move on
window.
just like that.
All the speculation, all the talk out the window. Anyways, love you all. It is the golden age of gaming, folks. It truly is something for everybody. We just got a game of the year, potentially the lead game of the year, with scores coming out today in Zelda. There's so much more to come. Starfield, I can't wait. June 11th, it's going to be huge. But man, this is the time to be a gamer. Get out there, play what you love what you play. Have a fantastic Friday, and I hope your weekend is stellar. We'll talk to you all real soon. Mav, get us out of here, brother.
Bye, everybody. Peace out.
Bye.